stay for one more round. Hell, I might close this place down. But don't think for a second I'm out to drown your memory. No, don't think for 1 second I'm out to drown your memory. Girl, you ain't worth the whiskey. No. Baby, you ain't worth the whiskey.
The radio in a sundress, making my world all a mess. Back corner of a cornfield, bottle tops in the true spill. Pull the lever, lay the seat back laughing, you slipping off your shoes, while the dashboard speakers sing every word of night moves. I wanna be that song that gets you high, makes you dance, makes you fall. That melody, rewind years, once disappeared, makes time stall. Wanna be those words, fill you up, pull your windows down, and keeps you young, makes you believe you're right where you belong. That song. I wanna be that song. Oh, I wanna stand with you in the third row, the window booth at a bar, back pew on a Sunday, pouring out your heart. When the bleachers are crowded, when you're sitting all alone, when the rain is pouring and you need something to take you home, let me be that song that gets you high, makes you dance, makes you fall. That melody, rewind years, once disappeared, makes time stall. Wanna be those words, fill you up, pull your windows down, and keeps you young, makes you believe you're right where you belong. I wanna be that song. I wanna be that song. Oh, I wanna. When you're searching the horizon, and when your eyes look back, when you're standing in the moment, every life has a soundtrack. Oh, I wanna be. Oh, I wanna be that song that gets you high, makes you dance, makes you fall. That melody, rewind years, once disappeared, makes time stall. Wanna be those words, fill you up, pull your windows down, and keeps you young, makes you believe you're out where you belong. I wanna be that song when the highway's calling, when the bottle's dry, when the sky is falling, and you're asking yourself why.
Day morning, 6 to 9 on Sportsvisions 92.1. You're listening to the Sportsvisions Morning Show, brought to you by Global Diagnostic Services and the Finley Firm. Here's DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer.
Good Thursday morning and welcome everybody to another edition of the Sportsvisions Morning Show. I am Walter and Betty Jones's baby boy, Daryl DJ Jones. And my pilot today is Richard Holdridge. How are you, Richard? Good morning.
Good morning, DJ. Glad to be here on this Thursday. Cannot wait to talk sports.
Absolutely. Thrift is on assignment. He will be with us in a little bit, but again, I think he's getting everything situated for SEC Media Day, which
Yes.
you two guys will be boots on the ground in Atlanta, Georgia, doing it big for the neighborhood.
Yeah, we've got the schedule. We are ready to rock and roll. After Monday's show, we are going to head up to downtown Atlanta, and we'll catch the tail end of Monday. We got some teams that are going to be presented, but it's really the big day for us is Tuesday and Wednesday because Georgia, Auburn, and Alabama, those are the primary teams that we want to focus on.
Absolutely, and looking forward to, of course, talking about that itinerary as we come up a little bit later in the show. But first and foremost, good morning to everybody that's listening and watching out there. And, of course, our Facebook family, we appreciate you. You know, we don't take you for granted. We are here to entertain, inform, and educate you on the goings on in the world of sports. And, of course, all we ask you to do, Richard, and I think this is really simple and easy. All we ask you to do is to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend that the Sportsvisions morning show is on the air. Don't do it. Don't keep it a secret. Don't be selfish. Share the information with everybody.
Absolutely. It's very important, just to get the message out. We're on Facebook Live as well as 92.1, and that's always great to have multiple platforms just to continue to listen to the show like when you're not even in the Columbus area.
And last but not least, to all of our friends out there in WLTC HD2 Sportsvisions 921 land, we love you, but it ain't a damn thing you can do about it.
Hello, somebody.
Richard, let's get this party started. Hey, man, listen, the Columbus Clingstones had a chance to go down last night and watch them at Synovus Park. You know what? Everything was hunky-dory. I mean, I had my favorite Clingstones player, Ethan Workinger, had a homer and another. I mean, it was off the chain. So, having to get up at 3:30 every morning, I was able to try to ease out at the bottom of the seventh inning. We had a 2-run lead. Everything was fine. I wake up this morning, and we have been beaten bad.
Yeah, the Pensacola Blue Wahoos ended up scoring 6 runs in the ninth. They had 2 runs in the seventh, 1 in the eighth, and they ended up winning 14-9. I was actually watching the game. I had the sound down. Thrift and I were doing a show, and I had the sound down, and I was like trying to get a score update because I thought maybe the Clingstones would pull it off, and I'm like, it's still bases loaded with no outs in the top of the ninth. And Pensacola, they put some runs up in that ninth inning, and they ended up winning. Hopefully, we could get a big win today. I actually will be in attendance this afternoon. I'm going to bring my wife. It's going to be the first time she's going to be at Synovus Park, and we're excited to be there on a Military Thursday. So it's just a great promotional deal just for especially all the military people here at Fort Benning that can get half off tickets. So we're looking forward to it.
And by the way, thank you for your service. I tell you what, that's always a brilliant opportunity for the military and for obviously the citizens of Columbus and the surrounding communities to obviously pay tribute to our servicemen, the guys who, of course, protect us and serve us, our country. But when you talk about going to a Clingstones game, how much of a benefit by obviously those discounts and all that thing, well, you want to share that with your fellow military guys out there, because again, I'm sure a lot of them know, but there's probably somebody that's listening right now that don't know the advantages.
Absolutely. And you could also get a discount at the Orchard store. So if you want to get some Clingstones gear, I happen to get a Clingstones t-shirt. You can get it at a discounted price just for being in the military.
What about the tickets to the game? How do they have any?
Yes. So the tickets, it's general admission. So it is the $15 tickets. You can get up to 4 tickets for half off. Good deal.
Good deal. Last night, I tell you what, it was just enthusiastic crowd, and I know that the weather is kind of is a factor, but you know what, you couldn't really tell because they were still on a Wednesday night, Wet Nose Wednesday. Saw the dogs all over the park.
Yeah,
it was just a different kind of scene there with me, but it seems like everybody was friendly. Ran into our guy Mike Kelly, had his dog there, and of course brought him. I had a chance to meet his dog, and again, I'm not a dog person, but I mean, I'm not an animal person, but at the same time, I don't hate them. I just never really had pets.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to go to a Clingstones game on a Wet Nose Wednesday. I mean, I like seeing all the dogs out there, and if you're a dog lover, it's just a perfect opportunity just to take your best friend, because they are man's best friend, to the ballpark. I really got to give credit to Brendan Seaver for getting that field ready. It rained a part of the afternoon. I didn't know for sure if they were going to have a rain delay, but they started right on time and they ended right on time. And just what a great job that the grounds crew did just to make sure that field was ready to go first pitch.
Absolutely. Hey, let's go ahead and let everybody know about the lineup today. And of course, we've just had a big, sensational lineup all week long. Well, just incredible folks that have been able to come in and share with the Sports Visions Nation. But today we'll have an opportunity, of course, heading into the SEC Media Day. Tony Barnhart, a good friend, he's going to be actually making his when they do those tours
farewell
tour. This is his final season. 50, I believe he said 50 years that he's been covering sports, and he was an outstanding writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution prior to him reaching his success and with the networks and being the voice of college football. But Tony will be with us at 7:00, and we'll have an opportunity to enjoy his plans and talk about his career. Jack Patterson will join us at 7:45, and of course, I'm sure that Jack will have something on his mind here as they get closer and closer. I can tell with his excitement when he was on Tuesday that he's just counting down the days to getting out there and, of course, covering the high school football games because he's currently going to all of the high schools and doing his training camp tour.
Exactly. And so far, he's done Eufaula and Manchester. I'm really excited to see where he's going to go next. Also has gone to Flint River as well. And he's really been holding down the fort since Tyler's on his honeymoon. And I know that he's just got a lot to talk about. And I'm looking forward to seeing Jack on the show. And
you'll appreciate this interview up to Richard, as we've had him on he's a regular contributor. He just happens to be the former quarterback of the 1980 National Championship Georgia Bulldogs, a teammate of mine who actually we cut our teeth pretty much around the same time in television. He was in Savannah market, and I was here in Columbus, WRBL. Both sports directors, sports anchors, and reporters. And Buck Belue is a sensation. He's been in radio over 20 years in Atlanta. He started out with Kincaid, his partner, Buck and Kincaid. That show had a hell of a run. But some 25 years later, Buck is still rolling. He's as hot as ever. And I don't think you can ever do really anything to lose the graces of football fans, not just Georgia Bulldog fans, but football fans in and around this region, especially when you have won a national championship.
For somebody that's lived in the metro Atlanta area for 10 years, I always look forward to listening to Buck and Kincaid on 680 The Fan. When you think of a legendary Atlanta sports talk show host, Buck Belue is up there. Do you talk about somebody that was the quarterback on your teammate on that 1980 national championship team, and just his dialect, his passion, and just the way he carries himself. I had a chance to meet him a couple of years ago at a Georgia football game, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from Buck Belue.
Buck has done really well. And you talk about Hugh Freeze playing golf. I know Buck Belue plays a lot of golf as well. He has all kind of tournaments. He plays in tournaments. Very talented young man, but he's doing really, really well. And he's going to be on with us at 8:00 to talk not only about the Braves, the All-Star Game festivities, but we're going to talk Georgia Bulldogs. We got to talk that. And SEC Media Days. I've gotten a real kick out of being able to talk to some of the veteran broadcasters that we've had on the show. Jordan Hill yesterday, talking about the etiquette and as a young people, since we do talk and want to help teach through this platform, the younger people, not just student athletes, but, people that are on their career path. It was great to hear Jordan talk about his etiquette and what he would advise to young people going in to the SEC Media Days for the first time. Certainly want to get Buck's view as well.
Yeah, I think that Buck's interview is going to be like what Jordan Hill's interview was. I was listening to it on the way home because I had to duck out early, and I felt like I was a student listening to a teacher, and he is like giving all this knowledge and information of what's going to be on the test. And so that was very useful information that Jordan Hill gave to us, like the do's and don'ts and the etiquette of SEC Media Day. And that's actually got me prepared. So I'm ready to go, and I'm looking forward to hearing what Buck Belue has to say about SEC Media Day.
And some 40 plus years later, it's very, very, just touching to me to have the experience of having a guy like my former teammate. And again, my former, leader in the quarterback room. We had a quarterback room with Jeff Paulk, myself, Buck Belue, and Tommy Lewis. Tommy Lewis who's now a pilot with Delta, but a lot of successful guys off of that team. And of course, going to be chopping it up with Buck, who is a media sensation in and around the metro Atlanta area. And of course, at 8:30, we will finally get an opportunity this week to talk to the voice of the Columbus Clingstones. And I know he's probably not going to be feeling as well as he was going into last night because, the Clingstones, even though they're still in first place in the Southern League, of course, for the second half of the season, that loss last night, man, I literally, when I left at the bottom of the seventh, I was walking out of the press box. I ran into Pete and I ran into Jack, and they both said, hey, man, hey, DJ, I say, hey, man, I got to go to bed. I got to go home and get to bed. And they both said, man, boy, thanks for bringing all those runs. And then I wake up this morning and find out that, of course, the score had flipped and the Clingstones lost.
When you see a team that puts up that many runs in the ninth, I know the first question that comes to mind for manager Cody Cabela is, what's wrong with the bullpen? Maybe it's nothing wrong with the bullpen. Maybe Pensacola's bats got hot at the right time. I'm interested to hear Jack's perspective when he's calling that game and in the top of the ninth and the Clingstones have that 1-run lead and like trying to hold on. We need 3 more outs to get this win, and that's got to really be tough to lose a game like that. But the Clingstones will bounce back, and they got 4 more games against Pensacola before the All-Star break.
Speaking of manager Cody Cabela, we got what's called the Fabulous Fridays. Of course, on Fridays, there's no telling who you might hear on the Sports Visions Morning Show. This Friday, though, I am proud to say that we're going to hear from a guy that you and I both know is probably the greatest running back and the greatest college football player that we've ever seen. Herschel Walker will make an appearance on the Sports Visions Morning Show, and I know that, Richard, you can appreciate that.
Absolutely. When you think of Georgia football, like as a kid from California, not really knowing much about the Georgia Bulldogs, I knew about Herschel Walker. My first impression of Herschel Walker was that big trade that Dallas and Minnesota did in the late 80s, but then I'd go back into the history books. I know he played in the USFL with the New Jersey Generals. One of the greatest college football players of all time, and I am excited to get to hear Herschel and just everything he's going to present to the Sports Visions Morning Show.
And no, the reason why we're teasing this so many days out, it's only less than 48 hours. But the fact of the matter is that we might want to make a special effort to pay attention, to tune in, or to somehow figure out how you can basically share that information, because a lot has gone on. And since we last talked to Herschel on the Sports Visions radio show when we were on during the week, Mondays and Thursdays. But you know what? He has graduated from college. Of course, we're going to talk SEC football. We're going to talk about, pro football. And, of course, his, you have to be careful, because in 30 minutes, if we start talking about his career, or if we want to know his opinion on SEC football, it's just not enough time in the day. But what we do want to talk about is the wonderful things that he's accomplished here in the recent years. Getting his degree from the University of Georgia is one. The other one, he has been appointed the ambassador to the Bahamas, of course, by our president. And, he's going through all of that necessary. And we were chatting the other day. He was going through all the paperwork and getting all that done. And he has made a move. Obviously, he had moved to Athens to finish school. He went back to campus. But after graduation, he is in Texas, because that's where he resides. He also has a home in Atlanta. But, we're looking forward to catching up with Herschel and seeing, of course, who would he pay to watch in football? I mean, you see the great guys now, and who are some of the great running backs? Who does he think has the potential to be a great running back in college football, and in who was his favorite professional football player today?
Yeah, no question about it. Herschel Walker, you think Georgia Bulldogs, and I'm just excited just to see that the growth and development that we know Herschel Walker's playing career, but he's accomplished so much after football. And I know that his story is fascinating, and we only have like a short period of time. Otherwise, we could go like hours at a time here in Herschel, because I'm sure he's got a lot of stories. And I want to know some DJ stories. Like, were you facing Herschel in practice? What were the practices like when you got Herschel in the backfield and you're trying to tackle him?
Well, I'll tell you what, that'll be easy to find out, because I'll be here and he'll be here. But on Fabulous Friday, that's when Herschel will be on deck. Now, the following Friday, obviously Friday after we get back from SEC Media Days, Cody Cabela, the manager of the Columbus Clingstones will be with us. We hadn't had opportunity to talk to Cody, but he has done an outstanding job in the inaugural year. And obviously talked to him about not only the team and his responsibilities. You know, we've had the good fortune of having former Major League Baseball player and longtime minor league hitting instructor, you know, Gary Ingram, to tell us all of the things. And, of course, the little nuggets and things that you would never know about a minor league or a Major League Baseball player behind the scenes and what they have to go through, the preparation, but to talk to the manager himself, who's currently doing his thing right now with the Clingstones. We're looking forward to that. And, we're going to have an opportunity to talk to Cody, and I'm interested in just talking about him. And because, again, we follow these players, and we want these players to end up on a big league club and with the Braves. But Cody Cabela is a young manager who could very well end up in Major League Baseball as well as a third base coach, first base coach. He could be a manager at some point in time.
Yeah, he's got a bright future. He came from the Rome organization, first-year manager for the Columbus Clingstones, and I'm very interested to see his story. I'm sure he's got stories about the day-to-day activities and what's it like, traveling with the team on the road for these 6-game home road stands, and then coming back home. Like, what do they do on Mondays? I'm sure that they do try to get a practice in, and I'm really excited just to hear Cody Cabela for the first time on the Sportsvisions morning show.
So once again, as we go to our first break of the day, we will be having today on the show, of course, Tony Barnhart will be with us, of course, talking about his illustrious 50-year career. Jack Patterson, the sports director with WRBL, and, of course, Buck Belue, the former quarterback of the University of Georgia, the media sensation, of course, in Atlanta right now with 680 The Fan, and Jack Johnson, the voice of the Columbus Clingstone. We're going to go ahead and take our first break. You are watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Visions 921. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
I'm telling everybody.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the Sports Visions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer. Catch me at 9 a.m. every weekday morning right here on Sports Visions 92.1.
Good morning, I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. A murder suspect is now in custody. Justin Reeves was arrested Wednesday by Muskogee County deputies and U.S. Marshals after being indicted by a grand jury on 2 felony murder charges, aggravated assault, and weapons violations. For more on that story, head to our website at WRBL.com. Starting Monday, Georgia drivers will see more police on the roads for Operation Southern Slowdown, a week-long crackdown on speeding and aggressive driving. Officers warned to slow down or expect a ticket. Finally, in Columbus, Paws Humane is navigating challenges after taking over animal control from the city. Since February, they fielded over 2,200 calls, with shelters now nearing 300 animals. Officials urge patience and ask families to foster or adopt to help ease overcrowding. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your day.
Good Thursday morning, mild and partly cloudy out across the area. Those temperatures are in the mid-70s, and expect those temperatures to climb back into the low 90s later this afternoon. Afternoon thunderstorm coverage should be better today, with a few strong storms possibly on the Georgia side, and tonight. Partly cloudy and humid, and seasonal temperatures as they fall in the mid to low 70s. After a brief dip in temperatures, more heat expected by early next week.
Attorney advertising. Georgia. Attorney 770 Good Law Car Accident Lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Top dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
Know what type of car this is? This a Hellcat. It's fast. Come on, let's go for a ride. I'm gonna show you. This car is fast. Just got it today. I love it. It's fast. I really love it. Watch it. This next traffic light, I'm gonna take the traction control off. Watch this. Whoa, bro, you fished him. Watch out. Whoa. You was unconscious for a second. When you wake up, your friend is screaming. It's a dog biting him. Just get a dog what he want. He wants your insurance company. Give him what he want. After you gave the dog what he want, he came over to me. And I started petting him. I don't care if you don't believe me. That's the way the story happened. That's what happened. Any accident. Top dog law.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. That's 800-628-5675.
Minor League Baseball is back in Columbus. Catch Clingstones baseball every night on Sportsvisions 92.1. Your home for the Sportsvisions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer, the Dan Patrick Show, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, and the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Weight loss seminar starts at 5:30 p.m. with registration starting at 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminar starts at 8 p.m. with registration at 7:30 p.m.
Every day, 12 children die from sepsis, more than from cancer. Most people don't know the word sepsis or the symptoms. Protect yourself and your loved ones. To learn more about the symptoms, go to sepsis.org.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. VA sends a weekly email to over 13 million veterans that's jam-packed with amazing resources. Subscribe for free at va.gov/vet resources.
Catch the Paul Feinbaum Show, 3 to 7 on Sportsvisions 92.1. Now back to the Sportsvisions Morning Show. Here's three-time Georgia Bulldog SEC champion and 1980 national champion, DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer.
Welcome back to the Sportsvisions Morning Show. Good Thursday morning, everybody out there. Appreciate you tuning us into your life this morning and helping us. Of course, us allowing us to help you get your day started. I tell you what, we got some early risers out there that are listening this morning. Congratulations. And big shout out to Stanley Crowell. He's always on the scene. And again, he's one of our loyal listeners, as well as Sandra Vitt Shelton. She is also up this morning. Good morning. And my lovely wife, Candy Lowe. I love you, honey. Good morning. Hey, guys, I tell you, we had an opportunity yesterday to venture out. And, of course, as we are often looking for opportunities to celebrate and honor citizens, student athletes in the community. Well, yesterday, Mike Jones had his final day of his Hops basketball camp, youth basketball camp up at George Washington Carver High School at Richard Mahone's Gymnasium and Warren Beulah's court. Man, I tell you what, that was a lot. That was thank you for being on the scene. But yeah, we had an opportunity to go up and again, I was mesmerized because Mike Jones, the former Auburn standout, European basketball professional star, he conducts the camp each and every year. He has, a very, very excellent staff to include Ronnie Battle, again, Melvin, Daniel Melvin, and a Pope Pimp, one of the former CBCC players. But I love the way that they were doing. They don't have a lot of resources, but they have enough. And Mike doesn't tell you. I told you, Mike. You know the story about Mike. If Mike could take kids out on a dirt court, just some little kids that don't know much about, he just loves teaching and pouring into the kids. But had the opportunity to go up to Carver and witness his final day, and also make him the 6th recipient for the inaugural Sports Vision Summer Awards presented by Sportsvisions 92.1, the Community Service Award. And again, Mike was definitely happy and flattered that we recognized him. Again, guys, the little guys that don't have all the resources, that don't have all the money, that don't have all the facilities, but he has taken what he has had, what was given to him, and he makes the best of it. Of course, also, Jonas Say was another instrumental person on that staff, and others. He had his cousin Tracy, but Mike Jones is he's a hero in my mind in this town because it's easy to do things when you have all the necessary resources, but when you're creative and you can take a little bit and do wonders, I think that has something. It earns a lot of merit in my camp because I can concur because similar Sportsvisions was built in a similar way. we didn't have a whole lot of sponsors. We didn't have a whole lot of people following. But those that did, we made them proud because we took what we had. And again, as they used to say, you took a beer budget and made it look like champagne.
Yeah, you talk about the limited resources, but when you have a team behind you that puts it all together, you can come out successful. And just seeing the pictures and witnessing the last couple of days, he's had some great guest speakers. And I'm sure the kids got a lot out of that camp. And I know that we appreciate Mike Jones really for giving back to the community and all those coaches that helped, like Richard Mahome and Warren Beulah. And then you just have so many people that have just put effort into these kids, and it was just a great success.
Yeah, absolutely. And having those guys to come in, these are Hall of Fame, state championship, junior college championship level coaches. And of course, yesterday, the finale was Doug Key, who was a Hall of Famer himself. Of course, one of the great coaches in the history of Chattahoochee Valley. And of course, he was a tremendous athlete in his own right. But, being there with his daughter, and of course, Coach Key is in a wheelchair, but they got him there. They got him in front of the kids. And you saw the pictures. The kids were mesmerized. And they asked questions, and they talked about what did it take to be great? What did it take, to really, really advance in the game? And he was as humble as he could be, but he was straightforward with them. And that was one of the, touching moments as, he was surrounded by some of his former players who also are very good friends with Mike. But let's not, don't take it for granted. This guy, he's a hero in this community in my mind. And obviously that's why I took the opportunity to make him the 6th recipient this summer of the Sports Vision Summer Awards presented by Sports Visions 921. And of course, that the other 5, we got 2 from Pacelli, Coach G and Coach
Zach Cochran.
Yep, as well as, of course, Coach Greg Mathis at Brookstone and his team. You got Tim Fanning at Glenwood and his team, and as well as up the road there, Tanner Glisson with Troop and his team. All those 3 state championship baseball teams and 2 state championship soccer teams and their coaches. So that Mike completes that with number 6. And so, the summer's still in full effect. So again, who knows? I'm just glad that we have an opportunity to do something over the summer when everybody's gone, especially in the school systems. Everybody's, relaxing, everybody's vacationing, but we still, even there's not a whole lot of games, but still those that have, we found a way, this camp that Mike Jones has had yesterday through starting on Monday, just found a way to give him his flowers while he's still here.
I'm glad we're recognizing everybody in the summer when it's fresh in everybody's mind. I know that everybody, like when school goes out, they scatter. They just go everywhere. And I think that it's very important that we recognize these spring champions. We recognize the accomplishments that people have done. And I think this is just a great opportunity just to give them their flowers. But I love the fact that you got a trophy, you're presenting it to them. And we appreciate all of our champions, but definitely our spring champions because they get the recognition that they normally wouldn't have got in the past because, in the summer months, sometimes we tend to forget about those champions, but I'm glad we did.
And thanks to Georgia, Alabama Sports Live, you guys and what you're doing, streaming these games and all of the soccer matches. And I mean, it's from head to, it's not just the traditional sports anymore. It's a whole lot more. But again, even you guys right now have a, somewhat of a halt in your scheduling because there's just not much to cover. But the fact of the matter is we do remember, and we were able to award these summer awards because of what you guys were able to do in the spring leading into the summer.
Absolutely. Not a whole lot of games going on right now. We won't start up games until August, but this is a time where Thrift and I are sitting down with athletic directors. We have our series sitting down with an athletic director, state of the programs. And that interview that Thrift had with Coach Ellison is fantastic. And go watch it on our Facebook and YouTube page. But I had a chance to sit down with Coach Andre Dye. I know that we're going to try to hit some more athletic directors. He talked to Coach Joe Kegler. I know that there are still some schools out there that have not officially announced their hire for the athletic director, but we'll bring it to you once we have that information.
Well, I did. I was over at Carver yesterday at the camp, so I just went over and met. I said hello. I didn't have to meet him because I've been knowing him for years.
Yeah.
The new coach over at the new head football coach, obviously Jarvis Jones. I saw him while I was there, of course, visiting Mike's camp. But the fact of the matter is that LaCoya Day, the new principal at Carver, I just walked right up to his office, and he was sitting in there by himself, and he was doing work, man. He was putting in work, and bottom line is, you just imagine a head coach taking over a team that, of course, very little about the front office, very little about the coaches and all the people and the players for that matter. So that's what, what's going on. That's the tradition. That's part of it, the transition of what, LaCoya Day, the new principal at Carver, has to go through. And seeing him and knowing him for so long, I just had to let him know how proud I was of him. But his hands are full, just like with Jarvis, taking over the new program. These guys are at an institution that has, in its own right, has had a tradition of being successful, being winning. But these guys, these two new leaders, have to, they have to claw their own way. They have to introduce their culture. They have to introduce their leadership. And, of course, they have to rely on a lot of people, as with Jarvis, his assistant coaches, and with, of course, LaCoya Day, his staff and administration.
Well, they're going to be set up for success because LaCoya Day is following Principal Christopher Lindsay, who's now at Central, and he really set the foundation. LaCoya Day could just walk in there and he could establish his own culture, but we know that Carver's been in good hands, and it's going to carry that way. And as far as Jarvis Jones, I mean, you coming off a state championship, you still got a lot of great players there. I think that these players are going to buy in to what Jarvis is selling. I think that Coach Jones is going to have a great staff, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming season for the Carver Tigers. And I'm telling you, it's great to be a Carver Tiger. That school on the hill, they got a lot of passion, and they are excited administratively with school coming back, and then, of course, with fall athletics as well.
Before we go to the next break, I want to get some takeaways. You say you had opportunity to sit down with a few athletic directors thus far, but in the early goings here in the summer months prior to the schools opening back up, did you sit down with Andre Dye?
I did.
And what were your takeaways with him? What was most impressive?
Well, my takeaways is that K-Town is back.
Yeah.
If you're a Kendrick alum, get excited because they are upgrading their facilities. They're trying to get players to stay at Kendrick. Because with that rule that could come into effect, the transfer rule, I think that is going to benefit Kendrick because a lot of great athletes live in that area. I think that if you live in East Columbus, why not go to Kendrick? It's a great school. They have a history of winning. They've won a baseball championship. They've won a football championship. They had that incredible dynasty with girls basketball in the 2000s. And I know that they are poised and they are ready. They've had the basketball team looks fantastic. They look fantastic in the summer league with Coach Dye. And they made the playoffs last year. The volleyball team made the playoffs last year. And I'm really excited about the new hire, Taylor Farley, who was a member of that 2014 state championship. And it's all about improving. And we're going to see improvement from the Kendrick girls basketball team. And how about this, DJ? That football team, if they start the season 2-0, this city's going to be buzzing because they play the team they beat last year, the Walker School, at home, and then they get Best Academy at home. So they could easily start 2-0. And I know that Coach Mayo is going to have them ready to go. They were actually having their practice when I pulled up to the school, and I was getting ready to interview Coach Dye. So that's a good sign to see. I'm just excited about Kendrick Athletics.
Absolutely. I'm just excited about, Coach Dye. And, of course, for those who don't know, Coach Dye is a former athlete, student athlete here in the Chattahoochee Valley. And, again, more importantly, when you were out there and when you went out there to interview him, did you get a chance to see you couldn't help but to see all the new renovations had gone on with, they have a new baseball field, the practice field. It just looks really nice. And to tell you what, that has a lot to do with the kids and the pride that they have. But the facility upgrades, you had to love it.
Yeah, the front of the school is complete. It looks fantastic. When you pull up to the school, you go on Georgetown Road and you kind of glance over to your left, and it's what you would say down in the valley. You have all the facilities. You have the track facilities. Of course, they have a football field for the practice, but they could run track there. They got the softball field, the baseball field, and they've had a batting cage in there. And so I'm really impressed with the facilities. I've always been impressed with the Kendrick facilities. I've called several baseball games down there, but it's something to take pride in because Kendrick does have the facilities to try to compete with the other schools in Muskogee County. And I'm excited just because of that simple fact that we're going to have just a lot of improvements and people are going to be buying into the school.
All right, let's go ahead and take our second break of the day. And you're talking about, it's training camp time, Richard. And again, in just a few weeks, the NFL clubs will be in training camp.
Yeah.
You'll have an opportunity to talk to me a little bit about some of those experiences and what to expect, because there's a lot of things that go on that people really don't know about. And again, the game is so much different today. I tell you what, we'll come right back. You're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2, Sports Visions 921. We are your hometown sports guys.
Flashing lights. Flashing lights.
You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Veterans, do you have a copy of your DD-214? A DD-214 is a DoD certificate of retirement, separation, or discharge from active duty. It verifies your eligibility for benefits and services. The fastest way to request a copy is through the National Archives and Records Administration at archives.gov. Get the benefits you've earned.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the GHSA and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic. Safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that can be fatal. Don't use anything indoors that burns fuel, such as gasoline-powered generators, camp stoves and lanterns, or charcoal grills. Opening doors and windows or using fans isn't enough. Have your vents and chimneys checked to make sure water heater and gas furnace exhausts aren't blocked. If you feel sick, dizzy, or weak while using a generator, get to fresh air right away. From the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
The YMCA is just a starting line, for the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. Y is the before work hustle, an after school home, a section of my block, a corner to call my own. With my Y, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror and everyone belongs. Find your why. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
Serving in Afghanistan, I was shot in the head by sniper fire. I was given a 5% chance to live. I'm Adam Alexander, and I'm a veteran. Today, I visit classrooms and share my story. I tell kids that with a little help and a lot of work, that you can overcome any challenge.
DAV helps veterans like Adam get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is being there for the next generation.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Your home for Falcons football. Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to the Sports Visions morning show. Here's Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions morning show. DJ Jones, Richard Holdridge. Thrift is on an assignment. He is taking care of business, getting ready for the SEC Media Days that you guys got coming up here next week. And he will hopefully get into the studios here in a little while.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Thrift. And I know he's got a lot on his plate just getting ready for this SEC Media Days. But we're going to knock it out of the park, DJ. I've been preparing myself for this SEC Media Days, and I know he is too. And we're gonna do Sports Visions proud. I think that we're just excited about getting out there to network with all the major players in when it comes to SEC Media Days. It's going to be exciting times.
I'm excited for you, and particularly with this being your first SEC Media Days. Obviously, Thrift has had several that he's been a part of, and he has grown up in the game, has established a lot of relationships. He knows a lot of people, and again, going to be cool to see you guys in action. Hey, man, listen, in a few weeks, training camp will start. Believe it or not, NFL training camp will start. Also, high school football will start their camps, and even shortly after that, the collegiate teams will start theirs. But let's just talk about the NFL as it pertains to what we have in front of us. Obviously, the NFL's Hall of Fame football game, the exhibition game, is coming up July 31st, which is weeks away. So that means that they have to go ahead and get into camp. Yeah. And I'm sure that, with both the Chargers and the Lions being in this game, they are the first two teams. They'll report actually probably about a week before everybody else officially gets started.
Yeah, the Chargers rookies actually report July 12th. The veterans will report July the 16th. The Lions will report July the 16th. And DJ, I can't believe we're having preseason games in July. I know the NFL likes that Thursday night slate. And if they schedule it that first Thursday in August, it kind of has that it's too late feel. But, you only have 2 preseason games and then a third preseason game if you're playing in the Hall of Fame game. But I'm excited about the game. I just can't believe it's going to be a couple weeks away, and it's in July. That is just crazy to hear that an NFL preseason game is going to be in July. I think that might have been the first time ever.
I know we're excited. I know as a player, I was excited to get off to finally get off the training grounds of Georgia Tech, where we all those of us who lived in Atlanta, we would get together in the off seasons and train to prepare for training camp. But, there's nothing like it, back in the day. And I got to say back in the day, because realistically, there is no way that they could do now what we did back then. First of all, again, the heat is just crazy. It was hot then, but we had 2-a-days, and in some cases we had 3-a-days. And what I mean by 2-a-days and 3-a-days, those were different practices throughout the day. That when we reported to training camp, we had to go out that many 2 or 3 times per day, depending on what the assignment was. But the key factor is the fact that we had 6 weeks of training camp versus what they're doing now. What are they even doing? 2 weeks? They go, but 6 weeks of training camp, Richard, and it was just. It was all about protecting the players. These guys don't have 2-a-days. They barely hit block and tackle. That's not as physical as it used to be. I tell you, the game has really, really been in favor of the players because again, from the preseason games, they cut it down from 4 preseason games, which we had. And that was how you made the team. And again, from the 120 players that were allowed to come to camp with all the free agents after the draft to, again, what they do today is so different.
I could see the benefits of a long training camp, especially for rookies that need to develop quicker if they want to be inserted into the starting lineup and make an impact. But I also see veterans who have been there, done that, don't really need a big training camp. You see a guy like Aaron Rodgers that usually doesn't even go to training camp. I don't know what he's going to do in Pittsburgh. You see Sean McVay doesn't even start his starters in preseason games. And so I don't know how much workout they get in training camps. And I think that we've got to protect the players, but also if you start seeing a difference when it comes to the regular season, if more players are getting injured, they actually revert it back to, well, he didn't get enough reps in training camp. And so that is something you got to balance out with the players and the owners. I mean, it's a great game. We want to protect the players. We want the players to be the healthiest possible when it comes to game time. So you just got to have to balance that. You got to get a good training camp in. But yeah, they have gone way far from the 3 a days that you were used to, DJ, to now maybe even 1 a day and rarely in pads during training camp. So it's a different times.
Yeah, it is a different time. And the fact that, of course, it's less physical, but there's so much more. They talk about the players getting bigger, stronger, and faster. There's so much more information, nutritional information for the professional athletes, for the athletes, period. Now they're eating better. They're training more specific. They have these isolated sport-specific trainers and position-specific trainers. I mean, if you're an offensive lineman, obviously your schedule will be much different than a defensive back or a wide receiver. You got quarterback coaches. You got all of these elements now that obviously the game has been afforded. But again, the bottom line is you have to put in the work. And I don't care. I don't know of any other sport that's more physical than football, but you have to play football to be good at football. And again, you have to understand. And to me, safety is very, very important, and really you need that because you want to make sure your players are healthy. But the only way that they're going to get to see those live looks are going live and actually going through contact. And you can't emulate contact in shorts and T-shirts.
Yeah, and most of the time during a typical day, you've got players that are actually in the film room. They are studying the game plans. And, of course, you got the coaches that they empty out their playbook. They give the playbook to the offense so they can memorize that thing inside and out. You also have the defensive players that have their playbook. And you talk about just building up that mental preparedness. And the walkthroughs is there to just see, like, this is how the play is going to be simulated. But yeah, we're actually going closer to that than putting the pads on and hitting the field 3 times a day, because it's really about the players, but also the coaches drawing up schemes, getting ready for the season as well.
Absolutely. And you always heard the old saying, players and, you need
it's all
what was that?
It's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and Joes.
That's right. And you can be the best coach with the most sophisticated, line up on offense and defensive schemes, and if you don't have any players to execute, it's a lost cause. And the bottom line is this: I know for a fact you have to play the game. You have to practice the game. You have to rep. You have to cover. If you're a defensive back, you got to cover receivers. If you're a receiver, you have to run those routes. And of course, when you're a lineman, and of course that pounding, and it's a physical game. There's no way around it, but for whatever reasons, they've been able to lighten the load somewhat, tremendously when it comes to actual practices. And I know they institute a lot of off-season mini camps and mandatory and not mandatory. But the bottom line, training camp is serious. When you get to training camp, you don't have an abundance of reps, especially today. And so back in the day when you knew and you were an established professional football player, you didn't need the reps. That's why they were able to bring in, 80, 90, 100 guys, and then get it and evaluate the rookies and throw them in there and let them go at each other, let them beat up on each other and compete. But now, very much the same. When you know who your main players are, you know who your elite stars are. They don't necessarily need to get those extra reps, but they still have to maintain a certain level of conditioning, which is, the ultimate as far as having a long, productive season.
As much as I love the series Hard Knocks, I think that a team would probably think that would be a distraction. And so you can get the benefit of actually getting a live look of what's going on during training camp. I don't think they film everything that goes on. And so, yeah, that's kind of a catch-22. Some teams, they like it because they like being in the spotlight, but also, to me, it's a distraction.
All right, Richard, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart, and this is his 50 year farewell tour. Again, I know that you guys are looking to him. I'm looking forward to seeing him
I can't wait.
in Atlanta at the SEC Media Days. But we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we will have an opportunity to hear from Tony Barnhart. You're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Visions 921. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
Keep it home a lot, cause when I frequent the spots that I'm known to rock, you hear the bass from the truck when I'm on the block. Ladies, they pay homage, but haters say...
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the Sports Visions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer. Catch me at 9 a.m. every weekday morning, right here on Sports Visions 92.1.
AutoNation's Columbus, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram. We believe in giving people a break. Like $16,000 off a 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4. Or $21,000 off a 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona Scat Pack all-wheel drive. And if credit's been a struggle, don't stress. We've helped folks with no credit, bad credit, even bankruptcies. We're here to help, not judge. Looking for a solid used ride? We've got thousands at AutoNation's Columbus, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. And with 2 locations in Columbus, we're closer than you think. Come see us. We'll treat you right.
Corey's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
If you're looking for furniture, you need to shop Gory's Furniture Express. It's the largest furniture store around with over 106,000 square feet of in-stock merchandise with new shipments arriving weekly. Locally owned and operated with everything you need from rugs to recliners to sofas and more. And that's only at Gory's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now. Without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special only $49.99. Become a non-smoker. That's right. Seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. Weight loss seminars at 5:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the GHSA and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that can be fatal. Don't use anything indoors that burns fuel, such as gasoline-powered generators, camp stoves and lanterns, or charcoal grills. Opening doors and windows or using fans isn't enough. Have your vents and chimneys checked to make sure water heater and gas furnace exhausts aren't blocked. If you feel sick, dizzy, or weak while using a generator, get to fresh air right away. From the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
The YMCA is just a starting line, for the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. Y is the before work hustle and after school home, a section of my block, the corner to call my own. With my Y, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror and everyone belongs. Find your Y. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you're making the same or less money. So what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. 800-628-5675. That's 800-628-5675.
Attorney advertising. Georgia. Attorney 770. Good law car accident lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Hot dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
Know what type of car this is? This a Hellcat. It's fast. Come on, let's go for a ride. I'm gonna show you. This car is fast. Just got it today. I love it. It's fast. I really love it. Watch it. This next traffic light, I'm gonna take the traction control off. Watch this. Whoa, bro, you fished up. Watch out. Whoa. You was unconscious for a second. When you wake up, your friend is screaming. It's a dog biting him. Just get a dog what he want. He wants your insurance company. Give him what he want. After you gave the dog what he want, came over to me. And I started petting him. I don't care if you don't believe me. That's the way the story happened. That's what happened. Any accident. Top dog law.
Minor League Baseball is back in Columbus. Catch Clingstones baseball every night on Sportsvisions 92.1. Your home for the Sportsvisions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer, the Dan Patrick Show, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, and the Paul Finebaum Show. WLTC HD2 Casita and W221DP Columbus. You're listening to the Sportsvisions Morning Show. Sportsvisions 92.1.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the Sportsvisions Morning Show. Let's get back to DJ and Thrift on Sportsvisions 92.1.
All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him to the stage. Of course, this is our good friend, Tony Barnhart, a.k.a. Mr. College Football. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the Sportsvisions Morning Show. How are you?
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate those kind words. And Maria said, do these people think you're dying or something like that? I said, no. But we are going to work one more year and do a little sort of a farewell tour. She wanted to call it a farewell tour. I'm not going to call it that, but it's a thank you tour. It's a thank you for all the people who've been so helpful to us in doing this for the past 50 years. And I've heard from a lot of people, including you guys, and it's very, very much appreciated.
Absolutely. Tony, it's an honor to have you on. I know that you're friends, and of course, we're former University of Georgia Bulldogs. But the back factor of the matter is that, you are an icon in the business, and you put in work 50 years that you've had in the media, and of course, become one of the most well-respected and most renowned names in the game. However, you came from somewhere, and I like to do this for the Sportsvisions Nation. As big as you've become and as humble as you are, the beginnings, the people that poured into you, the people that made you the man that you are. And again, I'd just like to reflect on those people before we get into the heavy lifting.
Well, it all goes back to Union Point, Georgia, is my hometown. Union Point, Georgia, population 1,500. When I left there, graduated from high school, left there in 1971. The population of Union Point was 1,500. Today, you can look it up. The population is still 1,500. But I had a great, wonderful experience growing up in Union Point. Greene County, you guys know, is halfway between Atlanta and Augusta, Lake Oconee area. That's all grown. That's all blossomed up since I left. But a lot of great people to me. I was close to my teachers. Had an English teacher who told me, well, if you work at this, you could write for a living. And I said, yeah. And I said, yeah, but the operative term there is work. And so, but I did go to work at it, and it's been a wonderful 50 years.
Tony, as you look back over the 50 years, and again, I know that they, that's a big 5 decades is a long time, but each and every year, obviously, when did you know that you were pretty damn good at what you were doing in the business?
Well, I think everybody can point to their real big break. I mean, I spent my first 8 years I graduated from Georgia journalism school in 1976 and worked at a small newspaper in South Carolina for about 9 months, then got a job at a medium-sized paper in Greensboro, North Carolina, and covered ACC football and basketball there. And those got me started. But of course, the big break was 1984 when I was hired by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. That was always the dream job. That's what I want. I said, I want to write for the AJC and cover college football because nobody did it better then. And that's when I got my big break. And then that eventually evolved into radio and television and writing books and stuff like that. But I knew I was on the road to where I wanted to be when I got hired by the AJC in 1984.
Tony, believe it or not, people think that what we do is easy, but again, it's hard. It's hard, and again, much less the competition is just fierce with regards to radio, TV, newspaper, whatever. But as far as the inspiration and the things that was buried deep down in you, in your heart of hearts, with competition, and it's just like competing as an athlete. Whether you play college ball or pro ball, or whether you just finish in high school. But what was the burning drive, the burning desire for you to accept the fact that, okay, you're in it to win it, and the fact that you are pretty damn good and you competed and stayed in it so long?
Well, I think it goes back to my days. I was as a player. I wasn't a very good player, but I enjoyed playing the game, and I think I played the game pretty hard and had great experiences on the football team. But that's where the competitive edge comes from. You guys know this. DJ, you know this as a player. If you're a football player, you take that into whatever you decide to do in your life. You take the lessons learned in football and apply those to the everyday world. And I think that's what I did. I love to compete. I love, I try to be an even keel personality, but I hate to lose. I don't like to lose. And when I got the newspaper is a very competitive business, as you guys pointed out. And you're trying to get the information, get it first, get it right more than anything. Always do that. But the competitive lessons I learned from football carried over into my professional life.
Tony, when I talk to young and up-and-coming broadcasters like myself, when we go and cover these games, we always think back to the GOAT days when we were young and watching Jefferson Pilot Sports and Tony Barnhart on Saturday mornings and Saturday around 12 o'clock to kind of kick off the college football coverage. When you hear stuff like that, knowing that a generation watched you growing up now is covering the sport as you are, how does that make you feel, knowing that we look up to you and it's an honor and a privilege to do similar things that you're doing now?
Well, it's very gratifying, and it also keeps you on your toes. I mean, you know that there are young people who are watching, and I always told people, I said, this may be, like when I lecture to a journalism class, I know this is maybe the first time they've ever had any contact, and I need to be aware of that and get and learn, let's share the lessons, stuff that hopefully is going to help them. But I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Berry College speaking to a journalism class, Berry College up in Rome, and we did a Q&A when I was done, and they asked me what I did in the spring and the summer. I said, well, when I can, I try to travel around and meet with coaches and players, and there's no games being played. There's no pressure, and that's a good time to get to know them. I said, really, why do you do that? And I said, because I do it to build relationships. And guys, they looked at me like, what is this old guy? What the heck is he talking about? Relationships. It's all about relationships. I tell you, I don't care if you're in the college football business or the aluminum siding business, okay?
Yeah.
It's about relationships and building those relationships. And those relationships here, 50 years later, I am still very close to a number of my high school teammates, particularly one, our quarterback, Charles Turner. It's all about relationships.
If you're just joining us, we have with us Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart. And Tony, I know that, as much as you've done and as celebrated as you have been and will continue to be, that Mr. College Football name, obviously, there's people out there saying, well, how did he get that name, or who named him that, or explain how you got the name.
It's a very interesting story. Back in I guess it was the 90s, the AJC was starting its online presence. Okay, they didn't have an internet site, and they were building an internet site. And the editor who was building that sports site came to me and said, Tony, we want you to do a blog. And I went, sure, that's great. What's a blog? I said, and then they told me what it was, and I said, oh, okay, I get it. So you want me to get people arguing amongst themselves on the internet? I said, that's exactly right. That's what we want you to do. I said, I can do that. I can do that. And they said, oh, by the way, we're going to give it your blog a title. I said, what's that going to be? I said, we're going to call it Mr. College Football.
Okay.
And I said, that's the cheesiest thing I've ever heard of in my life. He said, yeah, Tony, but cheesy works on the internet. And so they gave me the name, and I'm not giving it back. So it has served me well, and very appreciative of that. But that's how an editor by the name of Scott Peacock gave me that band. And when I left the AJC in 2009, I asked my daughter, who is an attorney, can I take the name with me? And she said, you sure can. So here we are, many years later. So.
Good deal. Tony, I definitely want to be considerate of your time, but I guess a couple of questions here, because again, I could talk to you the rest of the day, and I know that it's a proud privilege for the Sports Vision Nation to have you join us this morning. But the fact of the matter is that when you think about all the things that are going on your way out, and again, you're going to be retiring after this year, from NIL to, of course, the transfer portal, and to the most recent, our president naming Nick Saban as a co-chair to a college athletics commission, and I've heard you in other talks, and you talk so eloquently, and you don't get upset, and you kind of mild-mannered with regards to it, but just like, hey, y'all calm down. They ain't got it right yet, but it's going to take some time, but it's going to eventually be okay. With all that said, with all of that put in that bowl for you, just give me your thoughts.
Well, guys, first of all, we ought to just name Nick Saban the commissioner of college football and be done with it. But we've needed a commissioner in college football for a long time, because there is no one person who's looking out for the good of college football. Every conference has their commissioner looking out for and that's the way it should be. Okay, Greg Sankey's job is not to take care of college football. He is there to support the Southeastern Conference and their school. So I understand that. What I tell people, guys, is because I have a lot of friends and fans of the game who are very discouraged by what's going on right now. I say, look, guys, understand college football, while we're going through a transition period, we're moving to a brand new economic model. For 100 years, the economic model was one way, where the schools and the TV networks and all that made all the money and the players got relatively little. Guess what? That's changing. Major change never comes easy. And we're going to get there. College football is so strong, guys. As much as we as the adults try to screw it up, we can't do it. It's too strong. And so we're going to get there, but going through it right now is not a whole lot of fun. But there's certain things that are going to have to be done. There's going to have to be some kind of situation where this collective bargaining. There may have to be some work to get an antitrust exemption. There's certain things going to have to happen, because everybody understands if you take the NCAA to court, NCAA is going to lose. You're going to win. And they said, okay, but I'm telling you guys, we'll get there, because here's the irony of all of this that we're talking about. The game on the field today, the game that we watch every Saturday is better than it's ever been. It's a great, great game, and it delivers every single Saturday. But we are going through a transition, and it's not going to be easy, but we'll get there.
You talked about relationships that you cultivated, and talking with the ADs, the coaches over a long time. But how do you maintain those relationships, but ask the tough questions, write the tough, the tough articles that need to be talked about in our sport that may not shine a light on a guy that is you consider a friend, Tony? How do you, for young guys out there, how do you be able to differentiate and manage that without burning bridges with those relationships you spent all these years cultivating?
Trust. They trust you, and you don't lie to them, and hopefully they don't lie to you. But it's total. It's all about trust. I've made relationships with coaches over the years, and then I call them up and says, "I'm getting ready to ask you a really hard question," and I have done it. I remember with Coach Dooley. Coach Dooley and I had a special relationship. If I had I had a Georgia football player who got in a bar fight, and I found out about it because I just went to the trouble to find the police report. And there it was. And I knew, but I waited rather than ask him that question with a bunch of reporters around, I waited until after practice. I went to his office and waited on him to return. And then I told him what I had. He appreciated not being, hung out to dry in front of a bunch of reporters, but he trusted me to tell. And also, I tell young reporters, if a coach tells you something is off the record, that means it's off the record.
Right.
But you don't burn sources. That's a cardinal sin in what we do, is to get something and then burn the source. And there are very few stories that are worth burn. Hopefully a source stays with you for 20 years and you don't burn them over one story, but it comes down to trust, and don't burn your sources.
Well, Tony, I definitely want to take this opportunity in front of the Sports Visions Nation and God and let you know how much I appreciate you and your support over my short-lived career here, in the past couple of decades of from Athens to many of the championships we've covered across America. But you have been a friend, and you have been more than a friend. I picked up the phone in a lot of situations, and it's tough navigating the world as a small entity with regards to the Sports Vision brand. And I mean, I didn't work for a big network, but I had similar access. But in any time that I had any complications or needed to know anything, you always were there for me, and I appreciate you for that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, DJ, and you're a good man. And what's been neat is the relationships I've had with the Letterman from Georgia has been good. We had a charity golf event the other day.
Yeah.
And on Monday, and a lot of the Letterman turned out. We didn't get to play golf because it rained all day, but we had a chance to visit and talk about college football and stuff. But the Georgia Letterman have been very supportive of me over the years, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I know what University of Georgia means to you, but now we look forward to this upcoming season, Tony, and the SEC in particular. I think it's pretty wide open. Now, obviously, Georgia would be the favorite, as Kirby Smart's set the standard that Nick Saban had year in and year out, being the top of the food chain. But do you kind of like where the SEC's at this year, and who would be some of your favorites outside of Georgia heading into 2025?
Well, I think the SEC this year is going to be like it was last year, in the sense there were a lot of really good teams in the SEC.
Right.
I don't think there was a great team.
Yeah.
And obviously, Georgia was good. Texas was good. I think this year it's still Georgia and Texas in my mind.
Yeah.
But keep an eye on LSU. LSU is going to be one of the best teams in the country offensively. Their defense is just awful, but they think they've addressed some of those issues. Alabama is going to be a fascinating story all year long, what actually happens after last year. But I don't think there's going to be any. Ole Miss, I'm kind of anxious to see what they're going to do with Jackson Dart having departed the scene. So there's going to be a lot of good storylines. Just not sure there's a great one. I think those teams, Michigan and Ohio State are still, very, very good. But that's what's so much fun about this game. We don't know the answer to any of these things, okay? No. And my wife, Maria, says, well, stupid, that's why they play the games. I said, yes, ma'am. That's right.
He is Tony Barnhart, a.k.a. Mr. College Football. And, Tony, I'm going to ask you this question. And, again, you got one other, and then we're going to have to let him go. Yeah. With regards to today with, again, the social media, being able to go live, and, again, the journalistic ways and the studies that you knew growing up, those days have changed. And again, I just would love to get your idea on what you think about so many of these guys that have podcasts and all types of platforms now. And again, what's your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, truth never changes. I mean, tell the truth. And if you've got it, you can use anonymous sources, but you better be right. But it's, with all the social media opportunities, people they go to the internet right away, but that doesn't change the standard. You need to be right. You need to be accurate, and don't. I tell young reporters, don't get sloppy, because it's so easy to get. Their attitude is that, okay, if we get it wrong at 12 o'clock, we'll fix it at 12:05. No, you got it wrong, and that is never. In my generation, I hate to. In my generation, long enough, no. The fact of the matter is, get it right. Nice to get it first. I understand that. I'm a competitive that way too. But more importantly is getting it right. And don't say, well, I can bail myself out if I get it wrong. No, you got it wrong. Don't do that.
Tony, I'm going to bring up a kind of a controversial subject, which is Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders had their jerseys retired for Colorado, and eventually going to be getting a statue. Now, I have no problem with Travis Hunter. He won a Heisman. but there are a lot of former Colorado Buffalo, and you've been covering the sport a while. There's been a lot of great players that don't have their jersey retired before Shedeur. And if you look at the winning aspect of what it means to get your number retired and the numbers you have to put up, it was hard for me to swallow that one. What was your thought on both of them, but more specifically Shedeur getting a statue and his number retired at Colorado?
Well, Shedeur's Sanders is a lesson for a lot of people. Okay. These NFL guys are serious about what they do. All right. And I think at times there were people who in Shedeur's camp who thought he was not going about his business, his craft in the right sort of way. I have some reports people shared with me that the interviews with the NFL team does go well. Why in the world would they not go well? I mean, you're there on a job interview, and I just understand that. Here's something that a guy's a lot smarter than me. He said, look, here's the reality of that situation. If you are a top of the first round draft choice, then they will put up with a lot of foolishness from you. Why? Because you are an exceptional player and they don't come around that often. But if the pros determine that, well, you're right now, you're top of the second round, middle of the second round kind of guy, they're going to say, you know what? I'm not putting up. The teams are not going to put up with that. They don't need to. They will do it for a Hall of Fame player, but they're not going to do it for a backup.
No.
And that's where Shedeur got into trouble. I think Shedeur thought he was the top of the first round pick. I don't know where he got that idea. Wink, wink. And somebody else pointed out, and I have a great deal of respect for Deion Sanders. Sometimes it's really good to have Deion Sanders in your camp, but you know what? Sometimes it's not.
True.
It's unfortunate. Shedeur is very, very talented. I hope things go well for him. But this was a lesson for a lot of young players who will go through and saying, hey, you better take these job interviews seriously, because the men who run the National Football League, they're doggone serious about this stuff.
Well, Tony, we certainly appreciate you sharing all of that great information here with the Sportsvisions Nation. And I tell you what, man, I'm looking forward to seeing you out on the trail here as you, of course, complete your tour and get your final hoorah. And just know that the Sportsvisions Nation appreciates you as well.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good to be on with you.
All right.
Thanks,
you take
Tony.
care, buddy.
I've never felt like this before. I apologize if
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the Sportsvisions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer. Catch me at 9 a.m. every weekday morning right here on Sportsvisions 92.1.
Good morning. I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. A murder suspect is now in custody. Justin Reeves was arrested Wednesday by Muskogee County deputies and U.S. Marshals after being indicted by a grand jury on 2 felony murder charges, aggravated assault, and weapons violations. For more on that story, head to our website at WRBL.com. Starting Monday, Georgia drivers will see more police on the roads for Operation Southern Slowdown, a week-long crackdown on speeding and aggressive driving. Officers warn to slow down or expect a ticket. Finally, in Columbus, Paws Humane is navigating challenges after taking over animal control from the city. Since February, they've fielded over 2,200 calls, with shelters now nearing 300 animals. Officials urge patience and ask families to foster or adopt to help ease overcrowding. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your day.
Good Thursday morning, mild and partly cloudy out across the area. Those temperatures are in the mid-70s, and expect those temperatures to climb back into the low 90s later this afternoon. Afternoon thunderstorm coverage should be better today, with a few strong storms possibly on the Georgia side, and tonight. Partly cloudy and humid, and seasonal temperatures as they fall in the mid to low 70s. After a brief dip in temperatures, more heat expected by early next week.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went, and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me. Makes me cry.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. That's right. Weight loss seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at North Lake in Columbus at 5:30 p.m. Registration starts at 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. with registration at 7:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true, to help them fight a critical illness. Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish@wish.org.
Older buildings may contain asbestos and lead. Pipe or other insulation, ceiling tiles, exterior siding, roof shingles, and sprayed-on soundproofing may contain asbestos. Disturbing materials containing lead-based paint may release lead dust into the air. If your home contains asbestos or lead-based paint, and any of these materials have been damaged or will be disturbed during cleanup, talk to public health authorities. From the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
My life was going downhill fast. Everybody was on my case. Now, I kept hoping that life would change real soon. I knew drinking too much messed up my life. A friend suggested I check out AA. It worked. I found myself in an AA group. Finally, I've got my act together.
Visit AA.org for more information and download the Meeting Guide app to find a meeting near you.
Hi, my name is Piper. I'm 7. I'll be 8 in November. This summer, I got diabetes, but no one knew I had it. My mom thought I had the flu. Then I went to the hospital. It was scary, but I'm okay now. I wish people knew more about diabetes.
Every 23 seconds, another American gets diabetes. Stop diabetes before it starts. To learn more, contact the American Diabetes Association or download our free diabetes education programs at learningaboutdiabetes.org.
I'm Shanola Hampton. I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
The only live and local sports morning show. It's the Sports Visions Morning Show with Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer on Sports Visions 92.1.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, and he is back. A guy we all know and love, Thrift Behringer, and of course Richard Holdren. Good morning, Thrift. How are you?
Great, DJ. Couple things. One, I'm proud of myself for being a good teacher. Two, Rich, don't try to replace me. You're doing a better job than I am, man. But no, excellent. And this is, I really am proud of Rich. I know I say on him, I like joking around with him, but Rich has done a really good job working hard to understand this board, DJ, and I think he's done a great job.
Absolutely. He's been the ultimate professional. But for you, obviously, did you get all the rooms booked? Did you get all the everything taken care of this morning?
Yes, and ready to rock and roll next week. I mean, you don't understand how excited I am. I've even gone as far, and I've been talked out, but I know my impulsive self to buying another jacket. Even though I got plenty of suits and I got enough. Now to say, why do you need to buy another one? It's like, I just want something new. I like showing up these events, bringing out the new coat, the new suit. It just makes me feel good, even though I got plenty of good ones. So right now, I got what I need, but I may end up going to Men's Warehouse and grabbing another one.
Absolutely. And, of course, I think that you would have went over the top and something that will make you stand out. You should have got one with the sequins on it.
Yeah, I want Craig Sager type one. I want to stand out.
And, of course, I know that the military guys over there, he's going to be really conservative.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be wearing my dress uniform. I'm just kidding. I'm going to be wearing a suit, too, as well. Yeah, imagine, who's this guy? Is this like extra security? Why is he in his like
military uniform?
Yeah, with the shiny patent leather
shiny
shoes.
boots.
Yeah,
I might bring my shiny shoes, but I'll go ahead and wear those with my suit. But yeah, I'll be suited and booted for Tuesday and Wednesday, and they're ready to rock and roll and represent Sports Visions.
It's going to be a great time, guys. What can you say about Tony Barnhart, man? This guy is the ultimate professional. He's the ultimate pro. You know, celebrating 50 years, he's going to walk off, the scene, but he's doing it in rare fashion. He made mention, and he's going to do this season. So it's almost like he's going on his farewell tour.
Yeah, it is, man. And I said this when I was being interviewed by Marty Dern and Mike Peacock. I said, guys that I looked up to in the business, and obviously talked about the local part with you and Dale. That was bigger than anything else, because seeing someone from here on ESPN2 every Saturday morning, that really changed me, and realized that I can make it. But in terms of like guys that I wanted to be like if I ever got to the national level, it's Tony Barnhart, man. From JP Sports to being on CBS. You know, everybody talks Josh Pate now. He was Josh Pate for 30 years and still doing a great job. So I love Tony.
Absolutely. And he's been incredible to me. As I mentioned, during the interview, he, it's just one of those rocks, man. I mean, you meet people, and again, that camera and that microphone will make an idiot out of you if you don't have the maturity to handle it. And I say that with a lot of, grace. But the bottom line is there's a lot of people in this business that, they're smelling themselves, and they think, more of themselves than they really are. But at the end of the day, this is just another job. This is a career choice, and you're no better than anybody else. And it's just like athletes, you know what I'm saying? No matter how great LeBron is, no matter how great the greatest football player or hockey player or tennis player or whatever, they come from humble beginnings. They were somebody similar to you, I'm talking about you as the young athletes that are listening right now, that come from these same neighborhoods. They might be in a different state, it might be in a different country, but very similar as far as the makeup of people. And because of what you do, whether you're an entertainer or whether you're an actress or whether you're a sports broadcaster, the bottom line is that camera, if you're not ready for it, that camera and that microphone will make an idiot of you.
It will, and it'll change you too. It'll make you start becoming someone that you're not. And here's the thing: when you get that camera on, you kind of put on a persona. But the great ones, they have the same persona when the camera's on or off, DJ. Now, there are times you got to show energy and stuff. You're not always going to have that same energy for 24/7. I've never met a person with that much energy, but I'm with you on that. And I think Tony is a guy that doesn't matter what background you came from. You can be an intern at the smallest radio station ever. He's going to give you the time of day. That means a lot, DJ.
It means a lot, obviously, too. And again, I think it's biblical, because obviously to much is given, much is expected. And again, when God gave you these talents, and I don't mean to get holy roly up in here, but that's just stating a few facts.
Preach it.
Again, when he's it's in the Bible, man. If you don't share your gifts, or if you don't use the gifts that he's given you, they will be taken away.
Yeah. Remember the talents?
Yeah.
You either share your talents and multiply them, or you can keep your one talent. Don't let anyone see it. And God's like, what are you doing with it right now? You're just wasting it.
Same thing. But again, but there are some great guys, just like there are some in any field. You got some people that are wholehearted and respectful, and then you got people that are disrespectful and just downright rude. But again, that all goes into that negative, to that toxic bag that I talk about all the time. So when you get around those people, you need to get out of that conversation, move away, because those people have some obviously going through something that you're not involved in. If they got if they're into talking about people and talking them down and thinking that they're better than you, looking down their nose, get away from that. Run as fast as you can, because there are some good people in the business. And you know what? The great thing I love about SEC Media Day is that you'll be in a room with literally hundreds of broadcasters from all walks and all phases, with regard to the most inexperienced to the most iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you'll find that on the most iconic end, you'll find that those are the most down-to-earth people. And some of those immature, early, people that have just reached a level of success, those are the most rude.
Yeah, exactly right. And it doesn't make any sense. That's the part that kind of, upsets me a little bit. It's like, how are you acting like that? Who crowned you the greatest thing since sliced bread? I just never understood that mindset, DJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Richard, I know that Thrift has been there and he's experienced it. But speaking to people, eye contact, firm handshake, all of that stuff that as a military guy, all of that is very, very effective when you're in a setting of that nature.
Yeah, I'm going to take everything that I learned from the military and apply it to professionalism. You could be yourself, but it's all about being professional and representing well and talking to people like outside of the media. You going into a big event like this, there's going to be a lot of people there. You can't get starstruck. You can't look at it. Oh, that's that's Paul Feinbaum or that's Stephen A. Smith. No, you are there to do a job, and you have got to be professional. It's okay to say, hey, can I get a picture with you? I mean, because Thrift, you know, you and I are going to be taking pictures because we're going to see some people and probably going to take a picture with Josh Pate. I mean, that's probably going to happen. I'll probably get a picture with Jake Crane. I mean, these are guys that I love and I listen to on a constant basis, but I'm not fanboying. I'm just appreciating what they have done and what they have accomplished in their broadcasting career as well.
But you want to expand your circle. Obviously, those people get those pictures, but also meet 3 or 4 or 5 people that you've never met before, that you admire their work, that somebody that you could walk up to, and if you could, just say, hey, I'm Richard Holdridge, I'm DJ Jones, and I enjoy your work. Keep up the great job. And by the way, can I take a selfie with you? Can I take a picture? I mean, those are the things that because what you have going in. The goal is to build put more into your backpack.
Of course, I'm gonna say hi to Mike G from the War Report, Jack, Tyler, but also I'm really looking forward to meeting Stephen M. Smith for the first time, Jordan Hill. I mean, the people that we're familiar with, but also like a Paul Feinbaum, a Laura Rutledge,
you're gonna name drop. You're gonna name drop everybody right?
Cole Kubelik, Jesse Palmer. I mean,
But the point is that DJ's trying to make in that when you go to these things, you're just trying to meet anyone and everyone. You may not know their name, and it's okay. That's how you get to know them because
it's about networking.
Yeah, it's about networking.
Absolutely, and gravitating towards you, and again, nothing wrong with hanging out with your buddies and all. But that's not the case. That's not the place. You can say hello, but gravitate. Go and meet somebody you don't know. Right. I mean, hanging around guys that in the market, they love you, because I'm gonna tell you right now. The same thing I'm telling you, they know, and that's what they're going to be. They ain't trying to hook up with Richard or Thrift, but if they see you, they're going to be cordial with you. You guys are buddies, your friends, your colleagues. But these guys are trying to do the same thing that I'm talking about. They're trying to meet other people in the industry so that they can develop their network.
No question about it, because we know that there's going to be a lot of information that's going to be put out, and it's going to help us be successful to actually get as much knowledge as far as SEC Media Days, because we want to know what the coaches have to say. We want to know what the players have to say about this upcoming season. And it's going to be a lot of who's who there, but also we're there to do a job. And I'm going to try to absorb as much knowledge as I can, so it'll help us prepare for future shows down the road and getting ready for this upcoming football season.
Now you're cooking with gas, Richie. Now you're cooking with gas.
I figured I'd get there eventually. It's like SEC Media Days. It's great. It's a great event, but we have a job to do. And there is a lot of knowledge out there that needs to be passed along that we can use.
Hey, look, coming up at 7:45, Jack Patterson is going to be with us, as well as, of course, 8 o'clock, Buck Belue. He will be there. I'm looking, as we talked about earlier, Thrift, we kind of expounded a little bit with Jordan Hill on, as a veteran, broadcaster, a veteran journalist, what should he expect, or what's the etiquette going into the SEC Media Days. We found out, we got some great information by Jordan yesterday. Going to talk to Buck a little bit about that too, spend some time, because Buck is an iconic figure himself in his own right in the Metro Atlanta area on the sports talk scene. And again, he has techniques that he will imply now that he didn't do 20 years ago and 25 years ago when he first started.
Yeah, exactly. The experience part that he had to understand and learn, and I can't wait to talk to him and then see him up there next week as well. He'll be a big part of SC Media Days.
All right, Richard, let's go ahead and take a break. You are watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Visions 921. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
If it's local, it's on the Sports Visions Morning Show with former Georgia Bulldog DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Weight loss seminar starts at 5:30 p.m. with registration starting at 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminar starts at 8 p.m. with registration at 7:30 p.m.
Attorney advertising. Georgia. Attorney 770. Good law car accident lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Top dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
You know what type of car this is? This a Hellcat. It's fast. Come on, let's go for a ride. I'm gonna show you. This car is fast. Just got it today. I love it. It's fast. I really love it. Watch this next traffic light. I'm gonna take the traction control off. Watch this. Whoa, bro, you fished it. Watch out. Whoa. You was unconscious for a second. When you wake up, your friend is screaming. It's a dog biting him. Just get a dog what he want. He wants your insurance company. Give him what he want. After you gave the dog what he want, he came over to me. And I started petting him. I don't care if you don't believe me. That's the way the story happened. That's what happened. Any accident. Top dog law.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the GHSA and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association. Minor League Baseball is back in Columbus. Catch Clingstones baseball every night on Sportsvisions 92.1. Your home for the Sportsvisions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer, the Dan Patrick Show, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, and the Paul Feinbaum Show. The Herd with Colin Cowherd, 12 to 3 on Sportsvisions 92.1. Now back to the Sportsvisions Morning Show. Here's Carver Tigers legend DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer.
I got my peaches out in Georgia.
Welcome back to the Sportsvisions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Behringer, and Richard Holdridge in the building. Good morning, good Thursday morning. Of course, it's Throwback Thursday. And, of course, big shout-out to, again, Mike Jones, who is, of course, the 6th recipient for the inaugural Sportsvisions Summer Awards presented by Sportsvisions 92.1. I've given Mike the Community Service Awards, again, for his many years of servicing and, of course, teaching and mentoring our young kids in the sport of basketball. And Thrift, you know, I tell you, it was a great opportunity. It was a who's list of coaches up on the campus. Just the final day on the campus of Carver High School, you had Ronnie Battle, Jonah Say, as well as, Melvin, Daniel Melvin.
Yep.
You had Mike Jones, you had Coach Doug Key, and that was the final day. And again, a host of others, but those were the names that I'm sure that you're familiar with. But they all came out to help Mike, and they had a great show of support with his staff. And again, being our 6th recipient this summer, I'm proud to say that Mike he's a trooper. He gets it done. I was sharing with Richard earlier is that some of us, have the resources and you have all the treasures, but there's a lot of us that don't. And Mike is one of those that don't have all the things that you would think it takes to make a successful camp, but he just takes whatever he has and he gets it done.
Yeah, he does, man. And he's done a great job at giving back to the community and doing camps, running teams. And he's a bright spot in this community. And I didn't know about his playing days until honestly getting on here with Sportsvisions and doing the research. The guy could flat out ball. Him and Larry Florence, and rest in peace to Larry Florence, and both those guys have just made a tremendous impact to this community, especially in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Mike, for those who don't remember, he had some really outstanding years at Auburn. And I know Sonny Smith, one of the great Auburn coaches, told me in an interview that I did with him years ago, that if he had Mike Jones for the same amount of time that he had the Chuck Persons, and if he had the Charles Barkleys, it would have been no question that Mike Jones would have been the greatest Auburn basketball player that he had ever seen.
That's incredible, man. And that's saying a lot, because you see there was a lot of talent in those 80s when you're talking about Charles Barkley and Chuck Persons.
Yeah, absolutely. 706-324-1420 is the number to call if you want to chime in. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to have an opportunity to talk to the sports director at WRBL. His name is Jack Patterson, and he is super excited that I tell you what, man, the time is ticking. You know, we talked about earlier in the show, Richard and I had a conversation about it's amazing that professional football training camp is only a few weeks away. And, of course, high school as well as the collegiate ranks is right around the corner, man. And, again, you talk about the Hall of Fame game being on July 31st, and you're talking about the Chargers and the Lions going pretty much in the training camp, next week?
Yeah,
practically next week. The rookies reporting July the 12th for the Chargers, July the 16th for the veterans, and then the Lions training camp will start July the 16th.
Well, reeling it in a little closer to home, I'm excited to hear about what Jack has in store for us, because they're doing their training camp tour packages, and again, I love that.
Yeah, so he's I think he's been to 3 different places. I know he was at 2 yesterday, Calvary and Manchester. So he's been promoting that. Can't wait to talk to him how training camp's going, because DJ, we're about 5 weeks away from the first football game. Actually, yes, it'll be a month next week when our first football game is August the 15th. Wow, man.
Well, I tell you what, we can do this. We can just bring him up now. We don't have to worry about it. We just bring him up right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the sports director of WRBL, our friend Jack Patterson. Good morning. How are you?
Morning, fellas. How's it going?
Really good, man. Really good. I tell you, man. Just itching now and at the, just itching to get back to covering football. I know that we're right here, and I know you got some outstanding things to start with on the local level in the high school training camp tour. So why don't you tell us all about it?
Yeah, man, we've been rocking and rolling. We kicked off the Prep Zone training camp tour this week. We've already made stops in Eufaula. We've already been to we covered 2 Meriwether County schools. We covered Flint River, and we covered Manchester. And yesterday I was out at Calvary Christian talking with Coach Brunson and those fellas, and, they looked really good. I can't wait to see how the season turns out for them as well. Honestly, all the teams look really good so far, so really getting excited. And this is another morning where we're going to be up and moving. So as soon as I get off the air with you guys, I'm going to be heading down 280 going south, and we're going to go down check in with the Sly County Wildcats today. So really excited about checking in with Coach Alford and those guys and see what they have in store for the 2025 season.
Keep rocking and rolling, Jack. That's what you do. You're great at it. And, we always appreciate you, man. We were, me and Richard were kind of recapping last year. We had a ton of great teams. And this year, I'm excited, especially just locally, the 16 schools locally in this area, man. I think that we could have more championship contending teams, and I think we got a lot of regions that are up for grabs too.
Absolutely, Thrift. I mean, the regions are definitely there for the taking. I mean, you look at we'll keep it with the major region in Georgia in our area. That's going to be region 1-2A here in town, where you have all the Columbus schools plus Sumter County, and there's a lot of change in that region. Okay, you got Carver, who's undergone new coach, new quarterback. You got other coaches, like you got a new regime at Hardaway. You got Coach Gardner in year 3 over at Shaw. So much going on in the region. Spencer with Joe Kegler, they're looking to have a big season this year as well. So many storylines in region 1-2A. You can't forget about Sumter County and the great year they had last year as well. So that region is definitely up for grabs as well. And then I'm really anxious to see how Northside does this year as well. They've been kind of on the rise for the last couple of years, so I'm really anxious to see how they do this year and up in their region in Class 4A as well. And then, of course, when you go to the private school ranks, you always have that battle, with Brookstone and Pacelli. But I'm telling you, after talking with Calvary Christian yesterday as well, they're looking to have a major bounce back season from last year. Last year was their first year in the GIAA. The learning curve was steep, y'all. Okay, going from the gaps to the GIAA, it was really steep. But listen, they have put in the work over the summer. Seeing them out there right now, out there practicing yesterday, and there was a visible difference in how they were playing. So I'm really excited to see what they look like coming up in 2025. And then over on the Alabama side as well, of course, every year it doesn't matter. You're going to have Central and Glenwood both be contenders. Smith Station, they got a new coach of Blair Harrison, so it's a new regime over there. Seeing how they look, they're looking to bounce back as well. They've had a couple of rough seasons. So, like I said, there's storylines galore. Hadn't even talked about Russell County either. Russell County with Coach Dylan Griggs, deepest playoff run in ages. Okay. And now they're looking to, take that next step. So, like I said, storylines galore around the Chattahoochee Valley for sure.
Jack, we're a couple of weeks away from media days down up in Opelika, the East Alabama media days, and then Muskogee County media days, August the 1st. Just talk about how you and Tyler prepare for a media day. What are some questions that you might want to ask? And what are some storylines that are really intriguing that people aren't talking about going into media days?
See, that's the thing, Richard, is that, everything's kind of different for each school. I mean, yeah, you could technically, follow the same script for every school. Like, what's your expectations for 2025? And, how hard you've been working in the summer. But, every team has their own different storylines, whether it could be a new coach, it could be a new quarterback, it could be, new skill players, it could be that, hey, you won a state championship last year, what do you do for an encore? Or, man, you were so close to the state championship last year, what do you do to, take that last step to, bring home some hardware? So, the storylines, vary from team to team. And, that's, where me and Tyler come in. We do our research before we go talk to these teams, and see, we don't want to just ask the generic questions, okay? Because, you get generic answers. So I want to be able to, get them to, really think about the questions that I ask. And, and I feel like when you do that, when you, give them thought-provoking questions, that's when you get some of your best answers. And those are the ones that we put on there for sure.
Jack Patterson is our guest on the Sports Visions morning show this morning. And Jack, we could talk about a lot of different things, but the main thing that obviously that I've been talking to media personalities as they've been guests on the show here. And I've been talking amongst Thrift and Richard regarding, how they're going to approach media day with, of course, with, their with their presence. And, as a young broadcaster coming in and I could pose this question to you as well, is that, that microphone and that camera can make idiots, and it could make you really, really arrogant if you don't know how to handle it, if you're not handle it in a mature way. You have been everything but that. You have come from humble beginnings. Of course, you started in production, you worked your way up, and you're damn good at what you do. But one thing that you are very, very respectful, and you are very cordial. And you can tell that your parents did an outstanding job with you. That doesn't necessarily, we don't see that a lot. Sometimes some of these guys in the business, go a little bit overboard, but those are the guys that we run from, we stay away from. And of course, because at the end of the day, you got kids looking up to you. You got kids watching your program. You got kids wanting to be the next Jack Patterson sitting in that sports director seat over at WRBL. What do you say to anybody young or old, or just going in to cover for the first time or for the first few times of the SEC media days?
The first thing I would say is, don't be afraid, okay? Because when you get in the environment like that, I could tell you the first time that I covered media days, it was easy to get, a little googly-eyed because, you see all the heavy hitters, okay? Because, ESPN, they basically set up shop, wherever media days is. So, you see all the heavy hitters from SEC Network. You see Paul Feinbaum, you see Marty Smith, you see Ryan McGee, you see the entire SEC Nation crew. They literally set up. You see everybody from CBS Sports. I'm gonna see Josh Pate down there as well. You see all the people that you see on TV, and you see the people that in a lot of cases you want to be. Okay, so it's easy for to have be glossy-eyed and everything, and you don't want to get too big because you got to remember you're there for a job. So like I said, you don't want to be fanboying, for a lack of a better term. But at the same time, you do want to, I when I go to events like this, I look at it as like, I don't underestimate the opportunity to go, okay? Because it's not a given for sure, okay? So I'm grateful for, first, I'm grateful I got credentialed, but secondly, I'm grateful for my management at WRBL that allows me and Tyler to go cover things like this, and they are supportive and they know the importance and the reason why we go cover things like this, because we know that our fans look for stuff like this. We're football crazed around here. So, I don't take that for granted. I don't take any of these major events I go cover for granted, and like I said, I'm there for, to, do my job, and I'm there to, give my viewers at home the best coverage I possibly can. But at the same time, man, I'm a kid at a candy store. Okay. And, I try to do my best, and, and you guys know, when you're at media days, you're running around with your head cut off because you're trying to, especially on a day like coming up next Tuesday, where we'll have Georgia and Auburn in the same session in the morning. So I'm going to be running around my head cut off. But at the same time, you soak it in, okay? Because, these things aren't a given. And it's just really cool to be able to have the opportunity to, talk with these coaches and talk with these players and meet these media personalities that you don't get to meet every day. And, in some cases, the ones that you look up to, I love media days because there's always an opportunity for me to catch up with a guy like Josh Pate. There's always an opportunity for me to catch up with Marty Smith. And you got, anybody who's followed my career, you definitely know my connection with Marty Smith from our viral video that went viral back in 2019 at the Alabama LSU game. So it's always a cool time to get to catch up with him and Ryan McGee, who had a similar outcome with Rex the following week down to LSU Auburn. So like I said, it's, these media day, and not only that, but you get to catch up with all the stations that you work with around the area. I call it one big TV family reunion, and I think our parent company, Nexstar, we're going to have approximately 25 people from various stations around the SEC coming to media day. So it's an opportunity to catch up, and in some cases meet. I always say that we meet people in the sports media business. We get to meet people on Twitter before we ever meet them in person. So the opportunity to meet people as well. So I look forward to opportunities like this because, it's football season. You get to meet these people. You get to catch up with some old friends, and you get to see the people that honestly you hope and pray that you get the opportunity to do what they do one day.
Well, Jack, we appreciate everything and looking forward to, of course, chopping it up with you if we see you in passing. And as I was sharing with these guys that, we got, we're all colleagues, but obviously you're trying to expand that network when you're in a place like Atlanta at the SEC Media Days.
Absolutely, man. Networking is an awesome opportunity for networking. You're going to have people from all across the country that are going to be there. I have my friends from LSU that I met in the midst of the Marty Smith video that I always run into there. And I always catch up and I say hello. Like I said, there's so many people from around the country that come down and you get to meet them and, they become your friends in the industry, and DJ, this just as well as I do, in this business, it's not just about what it's about who you know too.
There you go.
So it's definitely an opportunity to build your network and stuff like that. And, get people to, know who you are and stuff like that. So like I said, so many opportunities coming up next week in Atlanta. I can't wait. I'm glad it's back in Atlanta because, last year it was in Dallas. So I'm glad it's back in Atlanta this year. And we're going to have a good time. Next week's going to be a lot of fun between that and the All-Star game.
All right, Jack, before you go, let everybody know where they can find you on social media and where they can find you on television this evening.
All right. So you can follow me on social media. My Twitter is right below my name at J Patterson TV and at WRBL Sports on Twitter for the News 3 Sports team. You can find us on Facebook as well at WRBL News 3 Sports. And then watch us on TV tonight. WRBL News 3, the CBS affiliate here in the Chattahoochee Valley. We got you covered. Like I said earlier, I'll be going down for the training camp tour to Sly County today. And we also gotta, don't want to bury this as well. We got the American Little League All-Stars, the 11U All-Stars, hosting the state tournament, the state championship tonight here in town. They're playing at 5:45. So we'll have updates on that coming up as well tonight on the Night Watch as well.
All right, JP, we appreciate you, big guy. Take care, man.
Appreciate it, fellas.
All right. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. You're watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Visions 921. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
In the store and get what you want. You get what you please. We about to get it on. Take off them drawers.
Stay tuned. More local and national sports coverage next on the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Weight loss seminar starts at 5:30 p.m. with registration starting at 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminar starts at 8 p.m. with registration at 7:30 p.m.
Attorney advertising. Georgia. Attorney 770. Good law car accident lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Top dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
You know what type of car this is? This a Hellcat. It's fast. Come on, let's go for a ride. I'm gonna show you. This car is fast. Just got it today. I love it. It's fast. I really love it. Watch this next traffic light. I'm gonna take the traction control off. Watch this. Whoa, bro, you fished him. Watch out. Whoa. You was unconscious for a second. When you wake up, your friend is screaming. It's a dog biting him. Just get a dog what he want. He wants your insurance company. Give him what he want. After you gave the dog what he want, came over to me. And I started petting him. I don't care if you don't believe me. That's the way the story happened. That's what happened. Any accident. Top dog law.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the GHSA and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit makeawish@wish.org.
Hi, my name is Piper. I'm 7. I'll be 8 in November. This summer, I got diabetes, but no one knew I had it. My mom thought I had the flu. Then I went to the hospital. It was scary, but I'm okay now. I wish people knew more about diabetes.
Every 23 seconds, another American gets diabetes. Stop diabetes before it starts. To learn more, contact the American Diabetes Association or download our free diabetes education programs at learningaboutdiabetes.org.
Minor League Baseball is back in Columbus. Catch Clingstones baseball every night on Sports Visions 92.1. Your home for the Sports Visions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer, the Dan Patrick Show, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, and the Paul Feinbaum Show.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
My life was going downhill fast. Everybody was on my case. Now, I kept hoping that life would change real soon. I knew drinking too much messed up my life. A friend suggested I check out AA. It worked. I found myself in an AA group. Finally, I've got my act together.
Visit AA.org for more information and download the Meeting Guide app to find a meeting near you.
I'm Shanola Hampton. I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
WLTC HD2 Casita and W221DP Columbus. You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1. Your home for Falcons football. Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Behringer, and Richard Holdridge in the building. Big shout out to, of course, our main man, Jack Patterson, who is the sports director over at WRBL. Of course, chiming in, talking about the high school training camp tour that he has begun. And it's always great to hear about all of those great programs prior to the start of high school football season. Also, big shout out to our guy, Tony Barnhart. He is Mr. College Football. And he'll be doing his walk-off tour, if you will. They call it, their farewell tour. I call it a walk-off tour. And Tony, well, I'll tell you what, he's been an incredible asset or incredible partner for myself in the business. As a young broadcaster, you're coming up in certain things. But being an old Georgia Bulldog and being a vet, and, of course, with a name like Mr. College Football, how could you not attach yourself with such a great guy, Thrift?
Exactly right, man. He is college football, and that's who I grew up on and love. And anytime we get a chance to talk to him.
And, of course, coming up right now is a guy that is near and dear to my heart, near and dear to the Sports Visions Nation, because he is just a great guy. He was a hell of a quarterback on a national championship team, but a lot of people forgot how great of a baseball player he is. But multi-talented. Now, he and I cut our teeth together in television. He was down in Savannah. I was here before we got into this radio business, and now he's a rock star radio host in Atlanta, Georgia. Please welcome to the Sports Visions Morning Show, Buck Belue. How you doing, man?
DJ, doing well, man. How's it going in Columbus?
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Glad to have you on, man. It's we're just a little bit before Media Day, and I know that it's a huge day, not just in the Southeastern Conference, but around America as far as college football is concerned. Everybody, all eyes will be on Atlanta. I know that there'll be a couple of other events going on, but as far as the sports part of it right now, the SEC Media Days. Do you remember your first SEC Media Days, Buck?
Well, at the time they called them the Sky Riders because these beat writers would jump on some little puddle jumper planes and fly all over the SEC, going to see each team one by one. So they came to you back in the day when practice got underway. It was a little bit different back then.
And we got just a little delay, but we're going to work through it. But we've been talking to a lot of folks, to include Tony Barnhart, and of course, when you talk to Jordan Hill. But I'm going to ask you, what advice would you give to the young person in the industry coming in for the very first time or the first few times of SEC Media Day? What is some of the etiquette? What are some of the habits or some of the things that you think will help them navigate SEC Media Day?
Well, I just enjoy hearing from each of the coaches and getting to hear what some of these players have to say. It's a real honor to be representing your university, the athletic program, the football team, your teammates. So, as far as the players go, I think you don't want to do anything that's going to embarrass the school and your teammates and the program by talking too much trash. You want to keep it simple, right? You brag on everybody, and you maybe have a good personal story you want to share or something like that. But, as far as people working the event, I would say get ready for a long day. It's going to get started early. It's going to last late, and you're going to do that over, a 3 or 4 or 5 day period. So you better not be going out burning the midnight oil. You better be getting some rest and getting ready to wake up the next morning and do it again, so to speak.
Buck, as we head into SEC Media Days, there's a thing called Radio Row, and I know you were a big part of that. Can you kind of allude what Radio Row is and having guests come from Kirby Smart goes from one to the next. That like explain to young broadcasters what's that was like when you were to be a part of it.
Well, you need to get a good producer because they're wheeling and dealing behind the scenes. There's a plan going into the event, and these things change. I mean, the next thing you know, you've got Kalen DeBoer's handler at Alabama saying, look, I know we scheduled to be on your show at 8 a.m., but he hopes to be able to get with you next year. And then your producer's got to be able to work that out, man. I mean, look, I know everybody's got a plan, but that plan changes. So you better be ready to jump around a little bit. These things, it's the hardest thing is locking somebody down to a time and then them following up on that plan. But it's going to be a little chaotic, but all in all, it's really a fun deal. I sort of enjoy seeing the other broadcasters. It makes it a lot of fun. After the chaos is over with each day, you're able to maybe hang out and see some of the people that you've known through the years. So that part of it's fun. The social aspect makes it a lot of fun.
Buck, I know everybody's excited that SEC Media Days is back in Atlanta, but this is a unique year because we also have the All-Star Game at Truett's Park. How is 680 The Fan going to be tackling both events that are going to be going on at the same time? We know that there's going to be some media members that are going to be going back and forth between both events.
Yeah, man, next week's going to be busy. It's going to be busy. We're putting in some long hours next week as we get ready. The All-Star Game is not just the All-Star Game. We got the Futures Game. We got the draft going on there in the Battery, Atlanta, and Home Run Derby. There's something, game. And, you never know what's going to happen, as I mentioned, at SEC Media Days. So you got to be ready to handle the chaos, man. It's a lot of fun. Being in the middle of it, at least for a guy like me, I just love it. Looking forward to it, what's going to go down next week. And just glad Acuna's fine, ready to go. He's going to host that Home Run Derby. I think he's got a chance to win that thing this year.
Buck Belue is our guest on the Sportsvisions morning show this morning. And Buck, I'm surprised out of all the stuff that's going on, you are one of the hugest Beyonce fans that I know, and you didn't even give her any credit for coming to town during the same time.
I didn't even know she was in town.
What?
Is she doing the country album?
I would assume so. It makes sense to me. It's the most recent successful music that she's done. So I think that. But again, I'm just kidding. I know that you got your schedule all, your I's all dotted and your T's all crossed. But let's get a little deeper before we talk any further. But the Atlanta Braves, go ahead and let them have it. Let them have it the way you do it on your show in Atlanta, because these folks in this area, obviously, they have a certain feeling and a certain love for the Braves. But just tell us what the hell is going on with Atlanta Braves right now.
Well, we're broken right now, and I'm not sure we can get it fixed by the end of the season. I'm preparing to do a big show today, and we're all over the Braves. And I was looking at what they do from here, basically, at this point in time. By the way, they got a win last night, hit 5 home runs, a season high. But we're trying to figure out, we're in a little bit of a transition going on here. We got Ozuna, Albies, Iglesias, all coming to the end of their contracts with the Braves. So I would assume you're going to see the Braves are going to have to address the second base spot. Albies has had the worst year of his career, and there's a club option for him next year, but I'm not sure the Braves are going to pick that up at this point in time. Ozuna contract runs out. Iglesias contract runs out. So, what we're looking at here is the Braves are going to try to upgrade at second base and shortstop. They're going to have a new DH and a new closer looking ahead to next year. So there's going to be a lot going on trying to transition with those key spots. But look, Riley, Olsen, Acuna, Harris, Strider, Murphy, they're all under these long-term contracts, so they won't be going anywhere. There's going to be some change. Just hoping it's going to work out. We're used to winning with the Braves here with 7 straight years of getting to the postseason. And sadly, it looks like that's going to come to an end this year.
Gunnar Stockton is going to SEC Media Days. We talked with Jordan D. Hill yesterday. He's excited. What's your mindset on Gunnar getting the invite? Because I wasn't expected Kirby to bring this guy, but now he's putting him in front of the entire SEC and national landscape and trying to make him a household name. How do you feel about him going?
Well, I'm really happy. I think Gunnar represents the university as well as anybody can. He's going to have to answer a lot of questions about people not believing in him. I'm sure they'll ask him about old Paul Feinbaum and his criticism during this offseason. But again, I'm looking forward to seeing Gunnar play the game. I mean, one of the most prolific high school quarterbacks in the state of Georgia history. I mean, his stats were better than DJ Jones' stats. We're talking about Trevor Lawrence and Jake Fromm, putting up numbers like that. So, look, I'm just a believer in Gunnar Stockton. He does everything well, might not be elite in any of the categories, but does everything well. He's going to have a lot of playmakers around him. I think the run game's going to be back this year. Solid offensive line. I'm a Bobo believer, so I think Bobo's going to put him in some good spots. He played pretty well when he got a chance to play last year. Yeah. Look, I mean, he's the clear starting quarterback and one of the captains on this football team. And some people, they're just waiting on Kirby to come out and have some press conference to announce that he's the starting quarterback. And I think maybe you hear Kirby talk about how they're going with Gunnar here during the media days. But look, he's going to be a lot better than most people expect him to be.
Buck, we're about 2 weeks away from the Falcons making their way up to Flowery Branch and getting ready for this upcoming season. We know that Michael Penix Jr. is going to be the starter with possibly Kirk Cousins, maybe as a mentor. But the Falcon fan is just begging for them to at least be relevant and make the playoffs, which they haven't done since 2017. If they don't make the playoffs this year, is it a foregone conclusion that Raheem Morris is going to be out as head coach? I think he's already on the hot seat, but you have all the tools and resources in place with an easy schedule, and that offense, it's put up or shut up time. And that's what Falcons fans are thinking about right now as we get ready for training camp.
Well, I think Terry Fontenot's the man on the hot seat, the general manager, especially if these guys they took in last year's draft, basically they're going to make up the defensive line. 3 picks in last year's draft on the D-line. They've gone young on the defensive line, so those guys better play this year or Fontenot's in trouble. And then you got the 2 edge rushers, Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. coming off the edge we took in the first round this year. So they've totally gone all in with that defensive front, trying to do a better job up front. So, I know that Walker's going to be big. I know he's going to play well. I'm not sure about Pierce. Offensively, I talked about it yesterday. Their plan is to run the ball more effectively than they did a year ago when they were one of the better running teams last season. I just think Penix is going to operate this offense a lot better than Kirk Cousins did. Cousins on that outside zone run, he could barely get the handoff out there, to Bijan. So they get Pitts involved. Looking forward to seeing this tandem at running back do their thing. Everybody talking about the defense has got to get better, and they do. But I think the offense has a chance to get better too. I mean, the one thing that's really curious to me is Bijan, regarded as one of the top 3 or 4 running backs in the game today, did not have one explosive play over 40 yards last year. Really hard to understand. He's elusive. He always makes that first man miss. I just can't figure it out. Hopefully we're going to see him maybe get some more better downfield blocking out of those receivers. and bust some big plays this coming season. But I'm a believer this is the year that the Falcons bust through, maybe make a run at that NFC South and take down the Buccaneers and have a winning season and get back in the playoffs. I'm totally believing in that's going to happen this year.
Buck, I love my Falcons, but I have to go back to the Bravos. And I know I heard you eloquently say about all the guys that contracts are up and who are not going to be coming back. But you did not let us say, or you hadn't made mention about Brian Snicker. Is he going to be back?
No, Snit will retire at the end of the season. And I believe that's been the plan when he signed this multi-year deal a few years ago. His contract will expire at the end of the year, and I think Snit's going to be riding off into the sunset. So really disappointed that not the way you want to go out, but one of the most dedicated employees the Braves have ever had. And he's got that World Series ring and a lot of wins and postseason appearances, man. Also, he's a big Georgia Bulldog fan. I like that about Snit. You know, I'm not sure who's going to get the job, but I think Walt Weiss will be in the mix. Mark DeRosa coaching up our Olympic team, working on the MLB network. He might be in the mix too. Look, there's some heat on Anthopoulos right now too. Being interesting to see what he's going to do at the trade deadline and then during the off season. But Snit's going to ride off into the sunset at the end of the season.
Buck, we're always talking about different sports and different teams with you, but I want to, for the benefit of the Sports Visions Nation, I wanted to go back to your early days in the business as a young Buck Belue. I know you started off in Savannah and doing your thing, but if you would, and we have a few minutes, can you go back for the folks that are listening for the first time and wanting to know how you started your career? Talk about some of those days back when you first started.
You know, the first opportunity to do radio was at Georgia. Doing a show there was a lot of fun. That's where the start came from. And then, you know, I was playing minor league baseball during the off season. I was coming back doing some TV, college football TV analyst work covering the Bulldogs, and got me started there. But I wasn't really sure. I knew I wanted to be in sports broadcasting, but I've always enjoyed writing. So I didn't know if it would be as a columnist, sports columnist, writing about sports or radio or TV. But, you know, it's just worked out. We've done a little bit of all three of those things. And, you know, my grandfather, Bullet Clements, he always said, the more you can do, the better off you're going to be. So it's been fun sticking my foot in all three of those areas. You know, had a chance to pay some dues too. Did radio and Jacksonville when I was in the USFL in Savannah, working in Savannah there before I even got this Atlanta job. Did some work in Valdosta doing the play-by-play of the high school games for a couple of years there. So, you know, you got to pay some dues. That's what the secret is to get going, man. Take whatever job you can get and build from there. And just been really fortunate to have found this spot here with the Dickey Broadcasting Company. It's a family-owned business. I've always, when the contracts come up, I've never had an agent. I've sat down with David Dickey, one of the owners of the station, and we've been able to hammer it out for 25 years. So just really blessed. Atlanta's where I always wanted to be growing up. So I could go see the Braves, the Hawks, and the Falcons, and all these great concerts we've got coming to town. It's been a real blessing being here for 25 years.
I do want you, and we've asked this before, but again, we got our audience is growing. We got new members. Doing your show with Kincaid for such a long time, can you kind of allude how you were able to do that, man, to be with someone for that many years, every single day? And it seemed like, I mean, y'all would have disagreements, but it seemed like it was just a marriage made in heaven that lasted that long. That's never heard of.
Yeah, 20 years, man. When the day they hired us on the way out the door, David Dickey took us to the Ritz-Carlton here. And boy, a kid from Valdosta having breakfast or brunch at the Ritz-Carlton, that was a big deal. But I asked him on the way out the door, I said, what would be a good run? I needed to know what kind of time frame we're looking at. And he said, Buck, if you guys go 5 years, that'll be a good run. And I was thinking, my goodness, I better get plan B ready to roll here. But we made it 20 years. And,
wow.
We were opposites in a lot of ways. Kincaid really didn't understand the love and passion with college football here in the South. So I tried to get him coached up with that. He was a guy, though, that I was blessed with the fact that he showed up every single day ready to go.
Yeah.
Totally prepared, ready to get after me. And so that was motivation for me to be ready every single day, to be ready to come back at old Kincaid. I tried to tell him through the years that, look, he wanted to talk about the Eagles and the Sixers and the Phillies. And I'll say, John, we're living in Atlanta. Nobody wants to hear about that. We knocked heads, behind the scenes in these pre and post show meetings that we had, trying to get the content thing working. 20 years, man. I tell you, I never had to worry about him showing up not being prepared.
Buck, I got to say, it is an honor because as somebody who lived in Atlanta for 10 years, I would listen to Buck and Kincaid constantly on 680 The Fan, as well as Chuck and Chernoff and the other shows. But my favorite was Buck and Kincaid. You guys really had great chemistry on the air. And one thing that really motivated me to actually pursue sports talk radio, even in a big market like Atlanta, it was 2010. I don't know if you remember when Kennesaw State upset Georgia Tech in basketball. This was a huge, I was at the game, and the whole fans were celebrating like they just won the championship. And I got a little discouraged because nobody was talking about it on the radio, because Michael Vick had a huge Monday Night Football game against Washington. And that motivated me to do sports talk radio, because I wanted to talk about the little sports that people aren't talking about. Well, what drove you to try to talk about some of the sports headlines that don't necessarily get covered in the Atlanta market? Because it's a big market, and you could end up forgetting about some of the big storylines that happen that sometimes people forget about.
We had a program director that was one of the best in the business, Mike Thompson, who's out in LA. He lives in the shadows of the Rose Bowl now, but such a great teacher. I learned so much from him. And one of the things that he believed in was, you got to play the hits, buddy. You got to play the hits.
Mm-hmm.
So, like today, what are the hits, as far as the content of the show goes? And so that was big with him. Really appreciated that. And another one of the things he really helped me with was one of the first days after getting hired, he brought me in and he said, Buck, you got a big decision to make. And I said, well, what's that? He said, well, you can, with Georgia Tech, handling Georgia Tech, said, you've got a decision to make there. He says, you can be like every one of these other dudes from Georgia that want to cheap shot Georgia Tech every day of the week, or you can be fair. You can criticize them when they deserve it. You can step out and compliment them when they deserve it. And I said, I think that's the path I want to take. I don't want to be the cheap shot artist just because I'm a Georgia man. We're going to find a way to criticize Tech every day. I didn't want to do that. And I'd say, looking back on it, that was some great advice because I've heard from a lot of Tech people through the years saying, man, we appreciate you not ripping us apart every single day. So, this Mike Thompson fella, he knew radio, and I was really blessed to learn a lot of these lessons from him.
Buck Belue, I tell you, man, we've enjoyed having you on, and man, this has been a great conversation. But my last question before I let you get going with the rest of your morning is that, in the sports talk show history, obviously, the personalities, you got people that are called talking heads. And what has made you different? I tell you what has made me different in putting my footprint in as far as what I think. Yeah, I talk about the game. I talk stats. I talk, players, but I talk about life, because you and I have both been in this game and we played multiple sports. We can go there. We can go to a lot of places that not many people can go. So in saying that, we can educate some of the younger people, give them an understanding, as well as some of the older people who just don't know, what really goes on behind the scenes, what goes on as far as preparation, what goes as far as mindset, family, relationships. So that's how I think I make myself different. How have you made yourself different?
Well, I grew up listening to a lot of these guys, and I would think, have they ever played the game? Seriously. And so I, at the time, playing baseball, leaving Georgia, playing minor league baseball for 3 years, and going to the USFL and playing some pro football for 2 years, and then going into the coaching business, coaching at Valdosta State, the quarterbacks and the receivers for 2 years. I was at the time thinking, what? There were days where I thought, what am I doing here? I mean, I seem like I'm changing paths, every couple of years, and you just gotta just trust it, and my Savior Jesus Christ to have me pointed in the right direction. And now, as I look back at all those experiences, I knew He was preparing me to be a sports talk radio host, because look, just all these experiences to pull from. I've played baseball at a high level. I've played football at a high level. I've coached, so I know what the coaching profession's all about. And so I got all these experiences to draw from and incorporate that into my hot takes every day on the show. So just really blessed, looking back. He had a path for me, and He's taken really good care of me. So just really, really blessed.
Buck, we want to thank you for, of course, waking up with us here on the Sportsvisions Morning Show. Hey, man, look, I'm looking forward to, of course, hearing all about all the experiences next week, from not only the Major League Baseball All-Star Game and all the festivities to the SEC Media Days. Hey, man, you take care, and we will talk to you real soon.
Good to be with you guys.
All right, take care. Buck Belue. Tell you, man, he is sitting high and mighty in Atlanta right now. He deserves it. He's worked his ass off.
Yeah,
and I'm just proud that he's my friend.
Yep, and I'm glad I've gotten to know him over the years because of you, DJ. He's awesome. I can't wait to see him next week.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. You're watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sportsvisions 921. This is the Sportsvisions Morning Show.
Sit right next to you.
You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1.
Good morning. I'm Rex Castillo. Here's a look at your morning headlines. A murder suspect is now in custody. Justin Reeves was arrested Wednesday by Muskogee County deputies and U.S. Marshals after being indicted by a grand jury on 2 felony murder charges, aggravated assault, and weapons violations. For more on that story, head to our website at WRBL.com. Starting Monday, Georgia drivers will see more police on the roads for Operation Southern Slowdown, a week-long crackdown on speeding and aggressive driving. Officers warn to slow down or expect a ticket. Finally, in Columbus, Paws Humane is navigating challenges after taking over animal control from the city. Since February, they fielded over 2,200 calls, with shelters now nearing 300 animals. Officials urge patience and ask families to foster or adopt to help ease overcrowding. From WRBL News 3, I'm Rex Castillo. Have a great rest of your day.
Good Thursday morning, mild and partly cloudy out across the area. Those temperatures are in the mid-70s, and expect those temperatures to climb back into the low 90s later this afternoon. Afternoon thunderstorm coverage should be better today, with a few strong storms possibly on the Georgia side, and tonight. Partly cloudy and humid, and seasonal temperatures as they fall in the mid to low 70s. After a brief dip in temperatures, more heat expected by early next week.
Attorney advertising. Georgia. Attorney 770 Good Law Car Accident Lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Top dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
You know what type of car this is? This a Hellcat. It's fast. Come on, let's go for a ride. I'm gonna show you. This car is fast. Just got it today. I love it. It's fast. I really love it. Watch this next traffic light. I'm gonna take the traction control off. Watch this. Whoa, bro, you fished him. Watch out. Whoa. You was unconscious for a second. When you wake up, your friend is screaming. It's a dog biting him. Just get a dog what he want. He wants your insurance company. Give him what he want. After you gave the dog what he wants, he came over to me. and I started petting him. I don't care if you don't believe me. That's the way the story happened. That's what happened. Any accident, top dog law.
Lori's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
It's summertime, and that means it's time for cookouts and company relaxing outside. So that means it's time for you to pay a visit to Gory's luxurious outdoor patio. Shop their beautiful outdoor furniture that's made to last season after season. Sofas, love seats, and even outdoor recliners. And that's only at Gory's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Seminars Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Weight loss seminar starts at 5:30 p.m. with registration starting at 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminar starts at 8 p.m. with registration at 7:30 p.m.
AutoNation's Columbus, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram. We believe in giving people a break. Like $16,000 off a 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4. Or $21,000 off a 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona Scat Pack all-wheel drive. And if credit's been a struggle, don't stress. We've helped folks with no credit, bad credit, even bankruptcies. We're here to help, not judge. Looking for a solid used ride? We've got thousands at AutoNation's Columbus, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. And with 2 locations in Columbus, we're closer than you think. Come see us. We'll treat you right.
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school. You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health too with Nature Made Probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the Sports Visions Morning Show. Let's get back to DJ and Thrift on Sports Visions 92.1.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer, and Richard Holdridge.
Big Rich.
Thursday morning, everybody. We are so proud that you are waking up with us here on the Sports Visions Morning Show. Big shout out to my main man, Buck Belue. Of course, he's doing his thing at 680 The Fan. 25 years in counting, man. He's 5 years on his own with the Buck Belue Show, and he's doing moves and shakers, and of course 20 years with Buck and Kincaid and the show that they had. And man, I tell you, it's always a pleasure to talk to my former teammate and good friend, Jack Patterson from WRBL. I'll tell you, he's just a bundle of joy with regards to local, being the sports director over at WRBL. We appreciate all of his insight, and he joins us every Tuesday and Thursday, of course, at 7:45 a.m. And man, big shout out, super huge shout out to your hero, Thrift, Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have him on the show, DJ.
All right, without further ado, we're gonna go down, of course, the guy who is the voice of the Columbus Clingstones, Jack Johnson. How are you? Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
Wonderful, man. Jack, I last saw you last night, and I was leaving, and you were taking a little break from the broadcast, and we were up, and everything was good. And I woke up this morning, and what the hell happened? The bottom fell out.
Yeah, no, it was a quick one last night, relatively uneventful. No, it was 16-9 final score, and that's part of what happens in baseball. Sometimes that's why you show up every night, right? Because you're going to see something you didn't see the previous night. And so very rarely do you score 9 runs and lose by 7 or give up 11 unanswered. But that just happened to be the case last night. And that's probably the only time we'll see that this year, maybe for a few years.
I won't do that again because I was confident that, of course, we were up. My favorite Clingstone had homered,
right.
and Ethan Workinger. I said that right. Workinger, right? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, I saw Pete, and I said, hey, Pete. Pete said, hey, yeah, thanks for bringing us all the runs, and saw you and all on my way up. But, yeah, it was the damnedest thing I heard this morning when I got up and checked. Of course, first thing I saw was your email with all of the box score and everything.
Right.
And then I listened to a message that says, hey, yep, they lost. But listen, man, here we are. It's a new season. First of all, the first half of the season is gone. We're still firmly entrenched in the top echelon of the Southern League as far as the second half of the season. You got to feel good about that.
Yeah, I think everybody feels really good about that. It's the nice nature of minor league baseball, you go halfway through the season, however you perform, regardless, the field resets. And honestly, it gets a little easier to make the playoffs in the second half because 2 teams out of the 8 have already punched their ticket. And so it's a much smaller league, which really makes it a 6-team race. And if you whittle it down even more than that and get a little more granular, it's really just a 3-team race in the Southern Division of the Southern League. And so that involves Biloxi, Montgomery, Pensacola, and Columbus. And so for Columbus to take 5 of 6 from Montgomery last week and then open up this series with the win on Tuesday night, and like you said, they were on their way to winning last night, and that would have been another big step in the right direction. I got to ask, though, DJ, what time did you leave the game?
It was about 9:20 or so, something like that.
Where were we at in the game?
In the 7th inning, the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, we're going to need you. We're going to have you stay.
Yeah.
For the rest of the season.
I agree. I agree.
I mean,
I felt
we can't let you out of the building, DJ.
I love it, man. Jack, Ian Mejia, he's gone. And we knew this was going to happen. He has just been so dominant this year. Talk about him progressing up to AAA and how excited you are for him and how excited the clubhouse is for him.
Oh, obviously, we're all thrilled. That was the expressed goal of Cody Gabella, the manager, when the season began, before the season even began, was to get the players out and up to Gwinnett and to the major league level. And so Ian Mejia, deservedly so, is one of the first that the Clingstones have promoted from the AA level to the AAA level. Didier Fuentes, one of the first as well. And so watching his performance this year, I think we all know the numbers speak for themselves. 8-1. His ERA was below 2. And it was just the level of consistency in his performance that I thought was most impressive. To go in most nights, get 6-7 innings, which is not easy. It wasn't typically incredibly flashy with 8 or 9 strikeouts. It was very consistent, very dependable, and also in a nice part of minor league baseball when you're in the middle of the season, very quick games, especially to start the series. And what that did is set the Clingstones up for a lot of success as a team because you don't need to use too much of your bullpen on Tuesday nights. And so he's a terrific story. I think I mentioned this to you guys, that he was also the team barber. And so he would cut his teammates' hair in the clubhouse, and he cuts his own hair. And so Gwinnett, I know that Gwinnett gets a team barber that comes in, but also I think they've got some options now in that clubhouse to get a nice trim.
Jack, we got 4 more games in the series. Then it's the All-Star break, and then it's back up to Huntsville to take on the Trash Pandas. With that extended break, it's not too long to take an extended vacation, but what are some of the things that the players and some members of the organization that do that's unique when they have this little break for the All-Star break?
Well, I think it's a good question, Richard. I think most years the obvious answer is just go home. For most people, aside from players that are and staff that are born around the area, which is rarely the case in baseball, they haven't been home since spring training, really. You show up in Northport, Florida, in the Braves organization's case, you go through spring training, you get assigned to your team, and then you report. And then you're either there or you're on the road with the team until the middle of July. And so that's kind of your next best chance to see your parents, your cousins, close relatives, close friends. So most people go home. The difference between this All-Star break and future All-Star breaks here in Columbus is that this All-Star game is right down the road. And so for a lot of the players, it's been on their mind to go see the game or see the home run derby or just be a part of it, see what it's all about. And so it's not going to come back to Atlanta for quite some time after this year. It's been a quarter century between the last All-Star game and this All-Star game. So I think a lot of players and staff members understand the weight of that and what a great opportunity that it's, an hour 30, hour 40 minutes away.
What is Jack going to do with this break?
I'll be going to Texas. That's where my girlfriend got a job in Texas. So I'll be spending a week out there.
Good deal. Good deal. They do everything big in Texas. Hey, man, you better stay away from those damaged areas. I'm sure she's not around any of that flooding out there.
No, she'll be she's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so I'll just be exchanging one 90-degree day for another.
Jack, we often talk about, obviously, the main thing, and the main thing is the main thing, and that's the Columbus Clingstones. But obviously the parent club in Atlanta that operates out of Truist Park, obviously with all the hoopla going on, I tell you, for lack of a better word, are you into that, or do you lay much weight into keeping up with the Braves as from a standpoint of being a cheerleader of them and being all the moves that are made and all the letdowns that have gone on? I mean, do you get emotionally caught up in that with so much that you have to do?
I think you certainly, I would say at this stage of my career in baseball, I'm much more invested, ironically. My first year in Gwinnett was 2023, but a lot of those Braves I had watched on TV, but I hadn't known personally. And so when our game is done, in last night's case, a longer game, but the Braves are on the West Coast and playing Sacramento, I would go in the clubhouse and the TV's always on when the Braves are on because that's the parent club. And there are so many relationships from spring training. There are relationships that I have with the broadcast team and people involved with it that it's always good to see them. And last night, Bryce Elder was pitching, and I watched Bryce Elder for 2 years, both in Atlanta and in Gwinnett. Drake Baldwin came through Gwinnett last year. And so as time goes on, I'll probably get even more emotionally invested because Ian Mejia or Blake Burkhalter or Lucas Braun or David McCabe are going to be the next Atlanta Braves. And more players that come through Columbus are going to be the next Atlanta Braves. And I think what's really cool and what I'm really interested in is who's going to be that first superstar that was truly Columbus Clingstone, right?
Yep.
The AA level, they're here for not always a long time, especially when they're that good, but a few series, sometimes half a season. And who's going to be kind of that person that we can point to and say he was here. And so that remains to be seen, but there's a lot of good candidates on this team.
Jack, thank you so much for being with us. But go ahead and before we let you go, go ahead and tee it up for tonight.
Yes, sir. Right here. I mean, don't change the dial. Sportsvisions 92.1. Pregame show 6:50. First pitch 7:05. Landon Harper going for your Columbus Clingstones. And I've tried to shout this from the rooftops all year, but Landon Harper is probably the most underappreciated pitcher in the Braves organization with his ability and he's not a two-way player, but with how specialized pitching is for his ability to make, I believe tonight's going to be his 7th start of the year. And he also has a 12-out save to his line. And he's had multiple outings of 3 scoreless innings of relief this year. So to be anywhere that his pitching coach and coaching staff wants him to be and perform well is incredibly admirable. And so Columbus, the offense is hot. You just got to stop. Don't let them score 16. Score 9, things are going to work out. So if we average 9 runs the rest of the season, we'll be talking to you guys deep into September.
Jack, is it true that some fireworks are supposed to be going on this weekend?
Oh, yeah. No, not only on Friday, but on Saturday night as well. So this is a great way to close out kind of, it's not the first half of the season, but head into the All-Star break And so Friday night post-game fireworks, and then another post-game fireworks show on Saturday. And then I believe a team photo giveaway on Sunday as well.
Thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate you.
Appreciate
it, Jack. Always good to talk to you guys.
All right, take care. That's Jack Johnson, the voice of the Columbus Clingstones. Hey, we're going to go ahead and take our final break of the day. You are watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Visions 921. We are your hometown sports guys.
Everywhere. Trying to run from the destruction. You know I didn't even care.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick. Thanks for waking up with the Sports Visions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer. Catch me at 9 a.m. every weekday morning, right here on Sports Visions 92.1.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now. Without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special only $49.99. Become a non-smoker. That's right. Seminar Wednesday, July 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at Northlake in Columbus. Stop smoking seminars at 8 p.m. Weight loss seminars at 5:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Attorney advertising. Georgia. Attorney 770. Good law car accident lawyers. Paid after dramatization. Top dog does not mean we are the best. No guarantees of success.
You know what type of car this is? This a Hellcat. It's fast. Come on, let's go for a ride. I'm gonna show you. This car is fast. Just got it today. I love it. It's fast. I really love it. Watch it. This next traffic light, I'm gonna take the traction control off. Watch this. Whoa, bro, you fished him. Watch out. Whoa. You was unconscious for a second. When you wake up, your friend is screaming. It's a dog biting him. Just get a dog what he want. He wants your insurance company. Give him what he want. After you gave the dog what he wants, he came over to me. And I started petting him. I don't care if you don't believe me. That's the way the story happened. That's what happened. Any accident. Top dog law.
Lori's Furniture Express, your express way to save.
It's summertime, and that means it's time for cookouts and company relaxing outside. So that means it's time for you to pay a visit to Gory's luxurious outdoor patio. Shop their beautiful outdoor furniture that's made to last season after season. Sofas, love seats, and even outdoor recliners. And that's only at Gory's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures, until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive, so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's Denver Broncos 1987 AFC champion DJ Jones and Thrift Behringer.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Behringer, and Richard Holdridge. Man, I tell you what a terrific show. Piloted by Richard Holdridge. Richard, you almost have completed this journey, man.
Unreal.
We've taken off and we're flown, 30,000 square feet. And, of course, not 30,000 square feet, but 30,000 feet. And, of course, we are really close to landing this thing. And, man, I tell you what, no turbulence in sight.
I'm proud of him. Did a great job orchestrating, facilitating, whatever you want to call it, play baking. When you're the producer, you're the guy kind of pressing the buttons, make sure it's running smoothly, and he's done a great job.
Richard, you the man!
Good job, Rich.
Yeah.
I recently just watched the movie Top Gun Maverick, one of my favorite movies of all time. And, Tom Cruise, obviously older guy, trying to teach these pilots how to fly these planes. And then not trying to spoil the movie, but it kind of has a similar, I kind of get inspired by I've learned from, Thrift, and
Listen, I'll be Tom Cruise any day of the week.
Yeah, you know what? I pretty much just said you were Tom Cruise. How about that? Yeah, I'm truly blessed that I'm able to learn the board and to continue to grow as a broadcaster, not just an on-air talent, but also as a producer.
You should be proud of all the things you've been able to accomplish here in the last couple of years. More importantly, the last couple of months. I think that it is heroic, and I think that's what you have to do. You heard Buck talk about it. You heard Tony Barnhart talk about it. You heard Jordan Hill talk about it. All the things that are necessary to make it in this business. And no job is too big or small. But the passion that you have and having the ability not to be afraid to take a chance to go where you haven't been before. Those are the things that are necessary as far as being a successful producer, on-air talent, as well as what you need heading into the biggest college football press conference in the world next week.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm getting my mind ready. I'm trying to find out, what do I want to do to try to get prepared for this. I know that Thrift and I are going to have a game plan. I don't know that we want to do some hits. We want to talk to some people, maybe get some interviews. But yeah, I'm going to absorb as much information as possible to get my mind prepared for the upcoming college football season.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are going to be great. I'm looking forward to checking you out. And again, just a plethora of options. That's the thing, Thrift. You just, you got to maintain your composure because, you can get there and this might be where you want to set up, or you might want to get over there. And then this is the person that you want to call on. But then as Buck would say, or whoever we were talking to, that said, hey, look, just because you talk to the producer, that doesn't necessarily not the producer, but the sports information guy that's handling the particular coach. You might have a deal where, hey, look, he's going to be meeting with you at this time at this place, but then all of that changes, all of that goes out the window, and you can't get upset. You just have to go on to the next page, go on to plan B.
You got to adapt. You got to be able to just make do what it do, and don't let things affect you like that, because it's going to happen no matter what. Especially in this profession, it's going to happen more frequently than not.
Absolutely. Hey, man, I tell you what, a big shout out to, of course, Stanley Crowell out there. And, of course, Richard, if you would, pull those up and shout out whoever else that we haven't talked to. But, again, it doesn't hurt to do it again.
I actually, before you do that, DJ, I actually have someone that messaged me and said, I always listen to Sirius, but I've been on 92.1 since 6 o'clock. Thank you, guys, and I am locked in. Steve Trammell. So shout out to Steve Trammell making Sportsvisions a part of his morning.
Thank you so much. Obviously, and again, we just try to bring you the best information that we can. And we're not. Everybody's not. I'm glad that everybody's not the same, but you have to have something different, and we want to make sure that you're informative, that we're educating these folks, and we're entertaining at the same time. Thrift, and that's what we preach and talk about all the time.
Yeah, we do, and that's exactly why we do what we do here at Sportsvisions 92.1.
Richard, again, you are 3 minutes away from having your first complete show all alone, all by yourself. You'll remember this day for the rest of your life.
Yeah, this will be a day that will go down in the history of my broadcasting career as the day that kind of was the turning point. And I've had a pretty good broadcasting career. I've done a podcast thing for about 5 years now, but it's really about getting credibility. You want to hone your craft. You want to get good at your craft so people can take you seriously. So down the road, if let's just say a hypothetical, if I ever decide to move back up to Atlanta, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I know the people up in Atlanta too. I mean, and they know what I do down here in Columbus, and I could use these tools for the rest of my life, especially getting ready to retire as well.
You will be a sought after producer, on air talent, man. And
no doubt.
Let me ask you this. What's the easiest? I don't know if you do know, have ever taken piano lessons, but is that board, operating that board or playing a piano is easy?
I have taken piano lessons, and I did it for a while.
Yeah.
I would say piano lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. But that board ain't no joke either.
Board ain't no joke.
You know what? Let me rephrase that. I'm going to say the board.
Especially with all the new elements.
Yeah, the board and then everything else with NextGen that goes along with it. It's not just the board and turning it on. It's having to get the board and working it with NextGen, the system. Piano, you're just hitting keys. As long as you can memorize the keys, you'll be good. You have to know when to press things and have that timing down. I'm definitely going to say the board, DJ.
Yeah, I figured it was. And then and on top of that, the doggone, the StreamYard system and phones and being able to do all of that multitask. It's a little bit more than just being operating that board now.
Yeah, it takes a special person, and Richard's done a great job observing, learning, and being able to do it.
Absolutely. Well, you hear the music, you know what that means. That's going to do it for this edition of the Sports Visions Morning Show. On behalf of Richard Holdridge, Thrift Barringer, I'm DJ Jones, reminding you to keep your eye on the ball.
I need you in the morning, but I need you now. Yeah. I find you, I give you all you need.
You've been listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer. Brought to you by Global Diagnostic Services and the Finley Firm. This is Sports Visions 92.1.
I try to teach you, but I need some lessons. I need to get